changes and corrections that we have, and also your wagering possibilities. If you'll turn to race one, there will be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, and trifecta wagering. And race one will be the first half of a daily double along with race two. Race one, number 4, play on player. Change the driver to Drew Neal. Drew Neal will drive number 4, play on player. Turn to race two. Race two will be the second half of that daily double along with race one, and there'll be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, and trifecta wagering. Turn to race three. Race three, there'll be win, place, exacta, and trifecta wagering. Race three, number 1, race day. Change the driver to Drew Neal. Drew Neal will drive number 1, race day. Number 3, Wilder. Change the driver to Pierce Henry. Pierce Henry will drive number 3, Wilder. Turn to race 4. Race 4, there'll be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, trifecta, and a superfecta. There'll be a superfecta in race 4. Race 4, number 2, Esteso. Change the driver to Drew Neal. Drew Neal will drive number 2, Esteso, in race 4. Turn to race 5. Race 5, there'll be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, and trifecta wagering. Turn to race 6. Race 6, there'll be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, trifecta, and another superfecta in race 6. Another superfecta in race 6. Race 6, you may scratch the number 1 horse, Lather Up Athens, lame. Number 1 is scratch, lame. Number 6, Hot Shots Ray. Change the driver to Kim Pluta. Kim Pluta will drive number 6, Hot Shots Ray. Turn to race 7. Race 7, there'll be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, and trifecta wagering. Turn to race 8. Race 8, there'll be win, place, exacta, and trifecta wagering, and there'll be a late daily double on races 8 and 9. Turn to race 9. Race 9 will be the second half of that daily double along with race 8, and there'll be win, place, show, exacta, quinella, and trifecta wagering. Race 9, number 5, Trente Deo. Change the driver to Pierce Henry. Pierce Henry will drive number 5, Trente Deo, in race 9. And those are the only changes and corrections that we have at this time. We're being entertained by Matt Richardson from Hambler.
Test.
Testing.
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 The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association presents Ohio County Fair Racing. Ohio County Fair Racing is presented by the Ohio Veterinary Medical Center, Big D Tack and Vet Supply, Dublin Valley Farms, Stable.ca, and Midland Acres. Now let's go trackside for all the action.
Hello and welcome to the Fulton County Fair, Ohio's second largest fair, I understand, in Wauseon, Ohio. Today, I'll be bringing you coverage. I'm Trish Soulsby, incidentally, of harness racing, America's own sport. Along with me today is Doug Ballinger. Many of you know him not only as my co-host today, but one of the finest announcers here in Ohio. Doug?
Well, thanks for that compliment. So this is the Ohio Fair Racing Conference, Trish. 9 races today, 2 divisions of the 2-year-old filly pace, 2 divisions of the 2-year-old colt pace, 2 divisions 3-year-old colt trot, and 1 division of the 3-year-old filly trot.
And
Also,
we're missing one thing. We're missing 2-year-old filly trotters. Well, there's no filly trotters of 2-year-olds, are there? I don't believe so.
they will be, nope, no 2-year-old filly trotters. They will be Tuesday evening with 6 o'clock post time back here at Wauseon. Have a signature series pace and a condition pace sprinkled in there to make our 9 races for the day.
So it's going to be a lot of action here, and they score, I believe, just 5 across here at this fair. But I did notice something that I haven't seen at a lot of fairs in Ohio. This half-mile track is banked very nicely.
They'll go some good miles over this track. They do every year.
That's you know it well, Matt.
I
you
love
gave
this
me
fair.
you gave me a little hint that I would enjoy this. That this was one of your favorite fairs in Ohio, and I'm so excited to be here. Even walking in, I was already amazed and impressed by this fair. So I'm coming back just to have fun at the fair.
Track record 153, talking about a nice track and speed back in 2001. 153 JC and Doug Rideout. We'll go to the post parade now with Bill Peters for the first.
And a blanket courtesy of Bean Creek Cattle. Number 1 is Admiral's Charm, owned by Ron Davis of Coopersville, Michigan, trained and driven by Skip DeMall. Number 2 is Ma Honey, owned by Sean McGee of Swanton and Suzanne Bates of Gibsonburg, trained by Ty Bates. The driver is David Lake. Number 3 is Cinderbella, owned by Gary Gillen of Molina, Ohio, trained by Chad Williamson, the driver Mark St. Louis Jr. Number 4 is Play On Player, owned by Kurt Kane of Adrian, Michigan, trained by Matt Waltz, the driver Derek Flowers. Number 5 is Ali Sweet Cake, owned by J&R Racing of Rising Sun, Ohio, Mark Kissler of Vickery, Ohio, and Sheila Mobus of Northwood, Ohio, trained by Jamie Weller, the driver Rod Elms Jr. Number 6 is My White Rose, owned by Greg Bateson of Toledo and Hader Stables LLC of Temperance, Michigan, trained and driven by Greg Bateson. Horses will take 1 long score and go to the gate. Mute your windows closing in 4 minutes. There's Win, Place, Show, Exacta, Quinella, and Trifecta Wagering on race 1. Daily double wagering on races 1 and 2. Okay, Matt.
We have a young lady here getting her passport. Yes, you're still collecting those stickers so that you can be eligible to mail your passport books in for all the fairs you attended and hopefully wind up getting a prize. All right. Thank you very much. We're here to give you those stickers. So we better take a look at this field.
So we had the post parade. This first race, 2-year-old filly pace, first of 2 divisions, Trish, for 6,540, beginning with the one Admiral's Charm, skipping ball drives. 2-year-old bay filly by Fool Me Once, 4 starts on the year, has 2/3, $2,500. Last time out, finished 6th, pacing a mile in 2:05 and 3. That's at Hastings, Michigan, the one Admiral's Charm.
2, Ma Honey, driven by David Lake for trainer Tyler Bates, is quite a nice, well-said filly out of Mary Celeste by Your Nemesis. In just 10 lifetime starts, she has yet to miss the board and has a string of second and wins going back as far as I can see on her 6 lines here. She actually has 7 wins this season with 2 seconds and was a winner 2 back in a wire-to-wire style at Lima, and then made an uncharacteristic break last time out at Van Wert and still finished second. That's
And
Ma Honey.
She is 1-5, our post-time favorite. 3, Cinderella Bella, Mark St. Louis Jr., the leading driver at the Ohio Fairs this year. Chad Williamson trains for Gary Gillen. 2-year-old bay filly, Western Tear, 3 starts with 2/3, just a little over $2,000. Last start out at Van Wert, finished 3rd, beaten 3 lengths, pacing her mile in 2:02 and 4.
Play on Player is the 4 horse. This one trained by Matt Waltz, driven by Drew Neal today. A Danson Yankee filly out of Play for Keeps by Manhart. 8 starts on the year with a single win, no seconds, and a single third, $12,707 earned. But if you're looking for the swiftest, her mark is the second fastest in this field, 1:54 and 2 at Scioto Downs. So she does have some speed. Last race at Hicksville, got away from the 4-hole 4th and then made a move at the 3/4, ended up finishing 5th. 30 and 3 her final quarter, mile time 2:03 and 3. But it's the start before that in Ohio Sire Stakes. She finished 8th and paced in 1:54 and 3. And the time before that, 3rd, last quarter in 28, 1:54 and 2, also at Scioto. So she has some git, that's for sure.
5, Alley Sweet Cake, Rod Adams Jr. for Jamie Weller. This 2-year-old bay filly was a $12,000 Buckeye Classic purchase. 8 starts, 2 wins, a third, $10,000 on the year. 2 minutes, 3/5 at Tiffin. Last time out was a winner at Mount Gilead, 2:05 and 3. The 5, Alley Sweet Cake and Rod Adams Jr.
Horses never know their price. You just mentioned one that was $12,500. My White Rose came out of the Buckeye Classic for a mere $5,000. This is a Western Terror filly, and she's a roan filly out of Strawberries on Top by Cam Luck. Greg Bateson trains, drives, and co-owns this one with the Haler Stables. Just 5 starts this year so far, with 1/3 and $2,445 earned. Last started at Hicksville, picked up a check, finishing 5th. And pacing in 2:08 and 1. Still getting her act a little bit together is My White Rose.
So as we look across the way, the Mike Wepkenberg starting gate is moved into position. We're waiting to field of 6 2-year-old filly pacers. 5 on gate with a trailer. The trailer will be the 6, My White Rose. John Ingram, the official starter today for the Wepkenberg starting gate.
And
Admiral's Charm, Ma Honey, Cinderella, Play on Player, Alley Sweet Cake on the gate, and the trailer, My White Rose. Let's go to Bill Peters to give us the call of the first.
Here they come. Clear off and pacing. That's Ma Honey going out after the lead along with Cinderella. Rubbing in their 3rd is Play on Player. Moving up 4th along the rail is Admiral's Charm. Ali Sweet Cake 5th on the outside. And the last horse after going off stride is My White Rose. As they make the turn now, heading down the backside to race over that quarter-mile mark. David Lake has Ma Honey on top by 2 lengths. Racing in their second, That is Cinderella, driven by Mark St. Louis Jr. In their third is Play On Player, driven by Derek Flowers. Fourth is Ali Sweetcake, driven by Rod Adams. Fifth is Admiral's Charm, driven by Skip DeMall. And the last horse is My White Rose, driven by Greg Bateson. First quarter pace in 30 and 1/5 seconds. As they race around that upper turn to come down past the stand for the first time, that's still Ma Honey by about 3 lengths now. Racing second is Cinderella. In their third, that's Play On Player. Holly Sweetcake is fourth. Closing in a wee bit, fifth is Admiral's Charm, and the last horse is My White Rose. As they race past the half-mile mark, that's still Ma Honey by 2.5 lengths. Right there second, that's Cinderella, followed by Play On Player third. First half paced in a minute flat. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over to that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is Ma Honey. The closest horse second. Now on the outside comes Play On Player. Third along the rail is Cinderella. Racing fourth is Ali Sweetcake. Admiral's Charm is fifth. And the last horse is My White Rose. Going to the 3/4 mile mark. That's Ma Honey by 2 lengths over Play On Player. And racing third is Cinderella. 3/4 in 1:29 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. Derek Flowers is getting real busy now with Play On Player. Along the rails with the lead is Ma Honey, but Play On Player is pouring on the pressure on the outside, and from far back comes Ali Sweetcake. As they race for home, that's Ma Honey, Play On Player, Ali Sweetcake, and Cinderella as they race for the wire. Tight at the wire there between Ma Honey and Play On Player. Photo for win between Ma Honey and Play On Player. Tight for third there between Cinderella and Ali Sweetcake. 58 and 3/5.
I believe Bill said 58 and 3.
58 and 3 is what I thought as well. What a nice mile to open up this card this morning still. Good morning. What a way to start the day.
Yeah, nice mile, 30 and a fifth, a minute. They really didn't slow down. That's second quarter, 29 and 4. 3/4, 129. Third quarter paced in 29. Home 58 and 3. The work was done on the front end, but David Lake and Ma Honey, who's a class of the field, 1 to 5, our early post-time favorite, as you mentioned.
They were the 2 fastest horses in the races. You know, Damon Runyon once said, the race is not always won by the swiftest nor the strong, but it's the best way to bet. And in that case, your top 2 horses, when it comes to their lifetime marks, are definitely on the wire there in a photo finish.
And getting the 3-hole trip to the 5/8 was Play On Player, driven by Derek Flowers, came first up and just wore down, you could say, Ma Honey, who did the dirty work on the front end. And it's very tight on the line. My eye did catch the 4 Play On Player, but we'll have to wait for the photo.
Yes, the photo finish will make sure we have the correct winner. A lot of times, as people that follow harness racing know, we rely on a camera that is not a still camera, but one that actually is more like a motion picture that captures the images of the horses as they go through the finish line, reach the finish line.
Yeah, these 2, the class of the field, Ma Honey, been testing the Scioto track and Northfield track Buckeye Stallion series, same as Play On Player, who had been racing in some Buckeye Stallions series, but also
was in that
the Sire
next
Stakes.
Generation too.
In the next generation, yes, so $150,000.
It didn't do well in the next generation, but they thought enough of her that they paid the, is it $10,000, Doug?
It very well could be for
I
that.
think
Yes,
it's to
for
buy a slot
yes.
and go in the next generation. It's $10,000. What?
Oh.
We were both wrong.
We were both wrong. That's
He's
why we
just
have photo
asking.
finish.
He's giving a vote.
He's just asking.
Oh.
Okay. And it's where you're setting. I mean, it will fool you.
I thought Derek Flowers got up on the outside.
I did too.
I did
so
too.
It must be a
Let's
lot
see what it
closer than
is.
I thought.
That's the angle, you know.
Yeah.
Matt, are we even money?
And the winner by a neck is number 4.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, we were right.
We're never wrong.
Oh, well, if
Once in
we
a while.
are, we won't say it. No, we're more humble than that. We'll admit it if we make a mistake. You can't be on air and not make a mistake. It happens.
So your winner, the first 2-year-old Philly Pace for $6,540. The 4 Play On Player. 2-year-old Brown Philip, a Dancing Yankee out of the Manhart mare. Play for Keeps. Kurt Kane of Michigan owns. Matt Waltz trains. Derek Flowers gets the winning drive. Only the second win, Trish, for play-on-player, but it's a big one, 58-3.
Double victory here this morning by Derek Flowers. The blanket for this race is courtesy of Bean Creek Cattle.
It's always interesting to read the sponsors. Some you've heard of, some you have not. The track record, though, they didn't
Let's have a
break
big
that.
hand here
It was
for Matt
158.
Waltz, Derek Flowers, and play-on-player and the Bean
158.
Creek Cattle, the donors of the blanket. Here are the official placings for race 1 from the top. Number 1, Admiral's Charm was 5th. Number 2, Mahoney was 2nd. Number 3, Sidner Bella was 3rd. Number 4, Play-on-Player was the winner. Number 5, Ali Sweetcake was 4th. And number 6, My White Rose was 6th. Time of the first quarter was 30 and 1/5. The half was in 1 minute. The 3/4 in 1:29, with a mile in 1:58 and 3/5. From the top it should read 5:23.146, a mile in 1:58 and 3/5.
Final half, 58-3 for play-on-player.
Very nice. The track record was set in 2002, however. CC Spice, 158. Jeff Fout was in the bike for the, I believe, Don Harmon trained filly. And, Jeff Fout now works for Winback Farms.
Yes, yes.
Actually, Chrissy does too, his wife. What a lovely couple. He raced for years and years here in Ohio.
Oh, yes, he did. So the winner, play-on-player, returns $6, $2.10 and $2.10. Our try, $128.60. Exacta, $20. Quinella, $4.
What a generous exacta for 2 horses. The 2 horses, yes. That's a generous exacta. So that's our first half of the Daily Double. And we'll be back with more from the Fulton County Fair after this message.
With the signing of the Treaty of the Miami in 1818, this northwest portion of Ohio opened up to settlers. The first log cabin in this area was built by 40-year-old Elisha Williams, who arrived from Seneca County with his wife and 4 grown children in October of 1835. That was the very same year of the infamous Toledo Wars, which was contested just with a lot of positioning and a few warning shots fired, although one Michigan sheriff did get stabbed with a penknife. It wrested the control of the Toledo Strip and moved the boundary of Michigan and Ohio 7 miles further north to its present latitude. In 1839, the last of the Ottawa tribe and the chief Wauseon were removed to west of the Mississippi. By 1850, the canal craze had brought Europeans by the thousands into the area. That year, Fulton County was formed from parts of Henry, Lucas, and Williams counties and named for Robert Fulton, the inventor of his North River steamboat, later renamed the Clermont, which in 1807 had traveled a 300-mile round trip between Albany and New York City in just 62 hours and opened up the rivers and Ohio to the world. The original county seat would be named Center, as a stake was placed exactly in the middle of the county. They would rename it Atoke, which was the last of the great Ottawa chiefs to plead their case to stay in Ohio, and who was a half-brother to Chief Wauseon. The railroad arrived in Wauseon in 1853, and it became the commercial center of Fulton County. A mere 5 years later, in 1858, the very first Fulton County Fair was held in Atoke on a farm. But then the fair was moved to a present site less than a mile south in Wauseon. The racetrack is considered one of the best in northwest Ohio's, and with as many improvements to the grounds as well as its barn area over the past 162 years, Fulton County Fair is now the 3rd largest fair in Ohio and still growing.
The roots of harness racing are born at the county fair. For over 150 years, people have gathered to watch horses battle it out for fame and glory. Catch the thrills this summer at an Ohio Fair Racing Conference County Fair. The OFRC races at 22 fairs in 20 Ohio counties. Trotters and Pacers put it all on the line to be called the best in the Buckeye State. The Ohio Fair Racing Conference, where the path to greatness begins. Mark your calendar for the new and exciting North American Standard Bred Mix Sale. Tuesday, December 17th at the Mount Hope Event Center in Mount Hope, Ohio. Broodmares, broodmare prospects, racehorses, and stallion shares. Pedigrees announced by Ed Teefee and Gabe Pruitt. Online bidding, clean, heated facility. The North American Standard Bred Mix Sale. A live auction to see quality horses with industry-leading pedigrees. Tuesday, December 17th in Mount Hope, Ohio. Entries open September 5th.
Guys, I've been looking forward to this race for 3 days ever since the entries came out. I love Seeing Gray. He's quickly becoming one of my favorite horses, but also Believe in Tom, the big long Tom pacing colt.
Now, just because you jogged him and he's coming off a win after you 2 wins in a row after you jogged
track record at
you
Van Wert.
You sound like Roger Houston at Delaware. He'll jog these horses and then they win. You're just like Roger Houston.
Matt, I'm in your corner. I'm going to back you up. Anytime I've been associated with anything good that happens on the track, I take
Well,
good
yeah,
credit
sure,
too.
yeah. Been around long enough to have enough bad things happen,
That's
so
right,
things
exactly.
go well, yeah.
Enjoy. Well, we'll take a good look at these in just a moment. But, Doug, I think you had something you wanted to bring us up to date
We had a
on.
lot of action last night. Buckeye Stallion Series, a big night of racing last night at Scioto Downs. 3-year-old filly Pacers, Buckeye Stallion Series 51-2 for J.D. Zacatech, Tyler Smith, and Christy Noble trained. Tyler Smith drove J.D. Zacatech. 3-year-old Colt Pacers in the Buckeye Stallion Series. Seaside Escape 150-3. Brett Miller and the Steve Carter combination teamed up there. The 3-year-old Colt Pace, another division of the Buckeye Stallion Series, 9-106, 51-1. Dan Noble for Christy Noble. And then we had the championships, Trish, of the Ohio Sire Stake Age Championship, $85,000 on the line last night. The mare division was won by My Red Sea in 150, Eric Goodell for Jason Irwin. The pacing side, the age pace, Charlie May, Don Tiger's Charlie May, a winner in 149-2. Dan Noble drove Charlie May for the Steve Carter barn. Refined from the Virgil Morgan Jr. barn took the age mare trot with Dan Noble at the lines in 151-4. So there was some big action last night at Scioto Downs.
We now turn to 2-year-old Colt Pacers here. There's 2 divisions, the 2nd race and the 6th race. I think they're all out on the track, about ready to assemble for that post parade, but we'll take a quick look because we might not have so much time. The one is Just Right Now. This one trained by Jason Hanna. It's a pet rock out of Lady Ray by Cheyenne Ray, owned by Jason Hanna of Marshall, Michigan. 4 starts on the season, no wins yet, but a 2nd and a 3rd, and $2,866 earned. Just Right Now, last raced on the 27th of August at Van Wert, finished 5th, pacing in 2:02.4. Dropped back to Attica, quite a gap between races there, almost 3 weeks. Raced at Attica, was also 5th there. Going back to his line where he finished 2nd was 4 back at Tiffin on July 22nd, so very lightly raced.
Drew Neal will drive number 2, Seeing Gray. This is a $60,000 Ohio Select purchase last fall. 2-year-old Gray Golded son of down by the seaside is owned by Miller Racing Stable, amazing racing stable. Ryan Miller trains, 8 starts on the year for Seeing Gray, has 3 wins, a 2nd, 2/3, $15,000. 2 of those 3 wins back to back on the 21st of August and the 27th of August. The 21st at Greenville, the Partial Futurity, a winner in 58-1. Just last week at Van Wert, 58-2 for the 2, Seeing Gray.
The 3 is quite a name here, clever. Hey, hey, it's Frenet. This one is a 2-year-old gelding by Down by the Seaside out of Wishes Do Come True by Art Major. Hey, hey, it's Frenet. Just had, I believe, a driver change being announced. We'll have to catch that in the post parade. I heard the name in the background there. 7 starts, no wins, 1 2nd, 3/3. Last race at Mount Gilead with a 4th place finish. Back at Hicksville was also 4th, but had a nice effort at Napoleon. Cut some fractions and then finished 3rd, beaten a length and a half in 2:02.2. We can go further back, raced at Lebanon, actually, and tried to cut the mile there again, finished third. I think this one may do better when it's on the front.
So I believe we're getting ready for our post parade with Bill Peters.
Our starting post word for race 2. This is the first division of the 2-year-old colt pace. Going for a purse of $6,930 and a blanket courtesy of Stapleton Insurance Group. Number 1 is Just Right Now, owned and trained by Jason Hanna of Marshall, Michigan, the driver Greg Bateson. Number 2 is Seeing Gray, all by Miller Racing Stable Incorporated of Greenville, Ohio, and Amazing Racing Stable, Middle Point, Ohio, trained by Ryan Miller, the driver Drew Neal. Number 3 is Hey, Hey, It's Friday, owned by Mike Lee of Rudolph and Dr. Jill Dental of Delta, trained by Mike Lee, the driver David Lake. Number 4 is Legendary Photo, owned by Stephen Reese of Republic, Ohio, and J&R Racing of Rising Sun, Ohio, trained by Jamie Weller, the driver Rod Adams Jr. Number 5 is Believe in Tom, owned by Jerry Meigel of Westland, Michigan, trained by Steve Novak, the driver Mark St. Louis Jr. Number 6 is Truly Flying, owned and trained by Brian Boring of Adrian, Michigan, the driver Cameron Keena. Number 7 is Pete Said, owned by Rick Estel of Oakwood, trained by Chad Williamson, the driver Pierce Henry. Horses will take one long score and go to the gate. Mute your windows, closing in 4 minutes.
Continuing on to look at this field of 7 2-year-olds, the 4 Legendary Photo, Rod Adams Jr. drives for Jamie Weller, a $13,000 purchase last fall. Tio Bago, the son of Bit of a Legend, has 9 starts, 2 seconds, 3 thirds, pushing 5,000 on the year. Last time out, finished 5th, beaten 15, timed in 2:02 at Mount Gilead. Start before that, beaten 6 lengths at Hicksville, paced a mile in 2:01.4. The 4 Legendary Photo.
Well, we're going to take a look now at 5, Believe in Tom, with Mark St. Louis Jr. in the bike for trainer Steve Novak and owner Gerald Mahal from Westland, Michigan. Also bred by the owner, Gerald Mahal. You know, this horse is easy to talk about. He's been doing very, very well. 4 wins, 2 seconds, 1 third out of 9 starts, making that 7 out of 9 and earning $25,382 this season. A mark of 153-2 taken at Scioto Downs. That was back a while ago because it is not on the last 6 lines, but does come into this race on a bit of a roll with 2 straight wins, both of them in wire-to-wire style from post position 2, moving a little further out, but that's not so bad sometimes on a half-mile track. Won't be so pinched going into that turn. 3 back had the long mile, was parked out and even 3 wide at one portion, and that's the only time that I can see that he has missed the board. Actually a winner of 3 of his last 4, Believe in Tom.
Drew Neal will drive number 6, Truly Flying. 2-year-old bay colt by Yankee Cruiser, homebred by Brian Boring, who owns and trains. 9 starts on the year, 3 seconds, 2 thirds, pushing 6,000. Last time out, finished 2nd. That was at Van Wert, beaten 4 1/4, pacing the mile in 2:01.2. The 6 Truly Flying and driver Drew Neal.
Trainer Chad Williamson conditions the 7, Pete Said, handled by Pierce Henry today. This one has raced 8 times as a freshman with 2 wins, 1 second, 3 thirds, and $8,620 bankrolled. The best time for this one is a victory in 2:02.3 at Tiffin. That was back on July 22nd and actually was in the 2nd tier and went on to victory. 2nd tier is not so easy sometimes. Also had the trailing position last time out at Van Wert and finished 3rd. Pete Said is definitely a check getter and has only missed the board 1 out of his last 6 starts, and that was a 4th place finish. So quite consistent for Pete Said as well.
So there you have a look at the field. This 2-year-old colt pace, this division for $6,930. Trish, we look across the way. Post-time favorite is the 2, Seeing Gray, at 3-5.
Well, you know, we follow drivers too, and I'm sure the race for dash wins at the fair must be heating up because the last time I was told it was Mark St. Louis Jr., who is in this race, was on top. But I was at the Findlay the other night. Jeff Nysonger had a triple, and I think he was closing in pretty nicely. And then Drew Neal has been hotter than hot of late. I think back, 3-4 days ago, he won 5 over 2 fairs. So I think the margin is tightening up with these 3 drivers. Do you have the stats?
Unofficially, I think this might have just came out yesterday or the day before. But Mark St. Louis Jr. with 94, Nysonger 78, Drew Neal 73. So looks as though the battle is going to be between those 3 and probably between Mark St. Louis Jr. and Jeff Nysonger being that close.
That's a bigger margin than when I looked the other day.
Yeah. And Betty Clegg has 57 training wins, Rosie Weaver 54, Hank Levan 53, Jeff Nysonger 33, and Urban Hagerman checks in with 32.
Okay, well, they're beginning to assemble behind that Wetkenberg starting car. I should say starting truck to be absolutely correct.
Starting gate is rolling now. Here they come. They're off and pacing. The first horse away on the outside is Believin' Tom. Down at the rail second is Seeing Gray. Moving up third, that's Hey, it's Friday. Facing up fourth is Pete Said. Along the rail fifth, that's Just Right Now. On the outside sixth is Legendary Photo. And the last horse is Truly Flying. As they make the turn now, heading down the backside to race over that quarter-mile mark, Drew Neal has Seeing Gray on top by 3.5 lengths. Facing in their second along the rail is Hey, it's Friday, driven by David Lake. Dropping in their third now, that's Believin' Tom, driven by Mark St. Louis. Moving up fourth along the rail is Pete Said, driven by Pierce Henry, and moving up fifth on the outside, Legendary Photo, driven by Rod Adams. First quarter paced in 28 1/5 seconds. As they race around that upper turn to come down past the stand for the first time, that's Seeing Gray by 3 lengths. Racing second at the rail, it's Hey, it's Friday. Racing third along the rail, that is Believin' Tom. Fourth, it is Pete Said. Fifth now is Just Right Now. On the outside, sixth, Legendary Photo, and the last horse is Truly Flying. First half paced in 57 4/5 seconds. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is Seeing Gray. 3.5 lengths back second. That's Hey, it's Friday. Racing third, Believin' Tom. Pete Said is fourth. On the outside fifth is Legendary Photo. Along the rail sixth is Just Right Now, and the last horse is Truly Flying. Past that 3/4 mile mark, that's still Seeing Gray with the lead. 3/4 in 1:26 4/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's Seeing Gray now opening up about 6 lengths on Hey, it's Friday. Up on the outside third is Believin' Tom, and fourth along the rail is Pete Said. As they race for home, though, it's going to be Seeing Gray, and here they all come. Looks like Hey, it's Friday is going to get up for place with Believin' Tom for show. A mile in 1:56 3/5.
Well, Trish Salisbury, I believe that's a new track record for 2-year-old pacing colts here at the Fulton County Fair.
Well,
Dancing Fever, Bill Webb.
Give us a drum
Mark
roll
Edwards.
and tell us which one broke.
57 3 back in 16. Dancing Fever was a previous record. 2-year-old colt pacers today. 28-1, gate to wire, 57-4, 26-4, home, 156-3 for Seeing Gray.
That's
Fourth
a full second.
win.
Full second.
New lifetime mark.
I can't believe Ryan let me jog that thing. He's a nice horse.
Actually, midway down the backside, I thought maybe she was coming back to
looked like his
Drew.
Shortened strides a
Yeah,
little bit.
and then she just opened back up.
Yeah.
Yes, the gray, the dark, actually a dark smoky gray.
Yeah.
At least when the
Real
sweat
good
is
looking.
on there. I bet when it's all bathed and everything, it's a little bit lighter. We don't see many different colors, your grays and your roans, but flashy one here with Seeing Gray.
And now moving down the track into the winner's circle where the winners go. Coming in from Greenville and Middle Point comes number 2, Seeing Gray, owned by Miller Racing Stable Incorporated, amazing racing stable, trained by Ryan Miller and driven to victory by Drew Neal. And Seeing Gray has just paced to a new track record for 2-year-old colt pacers, pacing that mile in 1:56 3/5. The old track record was 1:57 3/5 by Dancing Fever back in 2016. The blanket for this race is courtesy of Stapleton Insurance Group. Let's have a big hand here for Drew Neal, Tim O'Leary, Ryan Miller, Rod Cooper, and Seeing Gray at the Stapleton Insurance Group, the donors of the blanket.
I'll give you a little heads up. After this rundown, we're going to have a special guest, and our cameraman, Matt Clark's going to give us a short interview.
Well, you're going to help. I hope. I'm not
I'd
much
love
of an
to.
interviewer.
And
There's a ton of stuff I want to ask him. You know,
Sure.
it just.
Yeah, too short a time.
Yep.
And I'm going to go down the way. I don't spot them right now. I'm sure they're going to be coming back up. A couple that used to winter by us in Florida that they moved out about 5 years ago. I'm going to try to, here he comes. I'm going to try to contact him.
What a great
talk to
crowd
him.
we have
Yes,
here
a very
at
nice
Wauseon.
crowd.
Yeah.
These are harness racing
Yep.
people.
480. Now that,
Wow.
480. Matt, tell us the truth.
And look at the try. Are you kidding me? Wow.
2, 3.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, it's Friday was second.
Matt,
235, $207.60.
Look what you missed.
Let's go to get the top down from Bill.
Number 6, Truly Flying, was 7th. And number 7, Pete Said, was 4th. Time in the first quarter was 28 1/5. The half was in 57 4/5. The 3 quarters in 126 4/5, with a mile in 156 3/5. From the top, it should read 6, 1, 2, 5, 3, 7. 4 on the bottom. The mile in 156 3/5. New lifetime mark on Seeing Gray, and a new track record here for the Fulton County Fair for 2-year-old colt pacers. In the upcoming race 3, there'll be Win, Place, Exacta, and Trifecta Wagering. Make the driver on number 1 race day, Drew Neal. Drew Neal driving number 1 race day. And number 3, Wilder, the driver will be Pierce Henry. Pierce Henry driving number 3, Wilder. Need a representative of Country Dog Salon, trackside after the next race for the trophy presentation.
All right.
Well, not trackside, but grandstand side. We have a special guest today. His name, many of you, if you were in the Michigan racing scene back in the 70s and 80s for sure, would have to know this name, as he dominated a lot on the Michigan circuit, that is for sure. None other than Chris Boring.
Hall of
Matt, take it
Famer.
away. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer, and well, should be.
Well, Chris, we'll start with some family stuff first. You're here to see your nephews, Brian and Travis, do their job. Having another good year this year. They don't maybe have the standout like her Hydraulic Hazel was last year, but still a pretty good year nonetheless. And it sounds like they've got Hydraulic Hazel in full to, who was it, What the Hill?
Right.
And the other nice trotting mare filly that they had last year, We Go That's Right. She's in full to In Range now.
Right.
How are they both looking out there at the farm? You still get out there and see them some?
Well, I don't see them too much. They're out in Hydraulic Hazels down to Ernie's. And the other mare is out and back, but I don't see her much.
Now, you mentioned Ernie Ayers. What is the connection between Brian and Travis and Ernie Ayers? They've known one another for a long time. I know Ernie was a teacher. Was he actually a teacher of Brian and Travis's?
Well, he was a teacher and a football coach, and they played football for Ernie.
And so upcoming here in this third race, the half-sistered Hydraulic Hazel, Desert Haze of Greg Bateson's is coming up. She's coming off of 9 in a row here, and I guess that there is a 2-year-old brother up in Michigan now that's won 5 or 6 in a row. I don't know the sire of that one, the Michigan bred, but awful tough mare, isn't she?
She really has been a good brood mare for them, way more than what they had bargained for.
Now, I guess you got to drive a lot of really nice horses over your career. The one I really wanted to ask you about, though, is Shady Daisy. I mean, she's got a piece of equipment named after her, and it's kind of a unique piece of equipment. Did you drive her before that or during, or was she kind of a flighty thing or tough to drive?
She was always seeing stuff on the track, and the shadow roll itself wasn't enough for her, so they put those wire ties on there. But Doc Boswell really got that idea from Warren Cameron.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Warren trained a lot of direct scooters, and they were notorious for jumping stuff. And Warren put baling wire on the shadow rolls and stuck it up in the air like that for them to kind of keep them occupied a little bit.
The zip ties work great today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah, I don't know if there were zip ties back when Warren was doing his shadow rolls, but they really do work great.
Of all the horses you drove, were some of them, what ones come to mind that maybe were kind of a little tougher like her, or kind of had their quirks there? Any of them come to mind?
Well, Colt 46 was really tough to deal with, but we kind of worked our way around his problems, and
I'd say
he was a high-speed horse.
Yep, one of the greats, and Albert also, of course.
Albert was a perfect horse. He never did anything wrong.
Really?
Perfect from day one.
Are you able to help out and give your nephews some advice here and there?
Well, I told him the other day I'm trying to practice keeping my mouth shut.
Well, you know, one thing we don't talk about much anymore, Matt, are the Roaring Grand Circuit. And, you know, there were a lot of fine trainers that had a lot of knowledge over the years that, sadly, some people don't even know their names.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
I can remember reading an article a few years ago that Delvin Miller wrote for Hoofbeats magazine. And he said their day is coming when the 2-year-olds will go as fast as they'll go the rest of their life. And I thought, how can he be saying that? But it's really come to that time.
One thing I have to say, which is off the track, but when I used to work in Michigan and peruse the barn area, don't tell any tales on me, but you talk about a sharp barn and a whole group of horses that always were in beautiful flesh and looking so good. My brother and I used to say, that's one thing about Chris Boring. All his horses are in such great shape and well cared for. He carried some body weight on his horses. We don't see that a lot so much, Chris.
Well, that was my father. He was a great conditioner and a great feeder, and that's rubbed off on Brian, a lot of that.
I would say, I was going to say that all of Brian's horses look spectacular on the track also.
Yeah, he's really a good feeder and a good conditioner.
So, of all the horses you had, he asked about, you said Albert was such a gentleman and did everything right. Who was the most cantankerous good performer you ever had?
I think probably Colt 46.
Mm-hmm.
Real steady, was he?
No,
was he mean?
He just wanted everything he wanted to do things his way. And I had to have his head down really low for him to really pace fast, and I didn't have much control, but you know, if I could hit a hole with him leaving, I could stay in there till somebody came, but I had to get out of there if somebody came because I wouldn't be able to hold him. So, I mean, it looked really a lot better than it really was.
Chris, over the years that you've been involved, what's the single biggest change you've seen in our sport?
Well, I would have to say just the breed of the horse itself. You know, our horse used to be kind of short and squatty, and then when Meadow Skipper came along, he started producing horses with longer legs and high withers, and I mean, the business has just come around so much that I don't know if we'll ever catch the thoroughbreds or not, but we're gaining on them.
All right, Chris. Well, pleasure talking to you. We're going to have to pick up the post parade here, and enjoyed having you on air.
Yes,
and
thank
glad
you,
you're with
Chris.
us
Always
this
good to see
afternoon.
you.
Nice to see you guys. Good seeing you, especially Trish.
I love that. Thank you.
Trot LLC of Findlay, trained and driven by Ed Greeno Jr. Horses will take one long score and go to the gate. Mute your windows closing in 4 minutes. There's win, place, exact.
All right, we'll have to do a quick look here of our 4-horse field. I believe we missed the post parade, did we?
We did. Yeah,
okay.
I'll try and get him here.
That's all right. The 1 is going to be handled by Drew Neal. That is Race Day, trained by Rosie Weaver and owned by Rosie Weaver. This is a 3-year-old creatine gelding by I Love Like a Love Song by Credit Winner. This one's on a roll, that's for sure. That in the last 6 starts, did a real nice prep, 5 seconds in a row before winning at Caldwell in wire-to-wire style last quarter in 29-1, mile in 2:04. Of course, some of these fairs we have here in Ohio that people might recognize where they would be able to see this one finish second would have been anywhere from Athens, Attica, Zanesville to as I said, Caldwell. I'm not familiar with a couple of those. Are those Michigan fairs I'm missing out on there on August 15th?
No, that would be Rock Springs.
Oh,
would be
Rock
my guess.
Springs.
Rock Springs.
That's
Have you ever been to Rock Springs?
No, everybody says I should go because you've never seen anything like it.
Well, the 2 is Grover Hill. David Lake drives for Tyler Bates. 2 wins in 12 starts with 3 seconds and 2/3, 13,000 on the year. Right at 48,000 lifetime, a winner in 149 at Oak Harbor. I was there that night for the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association, and that was a track record for 3-year-old gelding trotters that night at Oak Harbor. The 2, Grover Hill and David Lake.
The 3-horse, Wilder, trainer, owner, Ann Russell, puts Pierce Henry up behind this one today. We'll see how he handles this one that's been making mistakes in each appearance except 5 back, where managed to stay flat and finish third. That was back at Bowling Green, trotting in 2:05 and 4 that day. So 12 starts on the season, no wins, no seconds, 1/3, and we'll see. We'll see if Pierce has the hands to get this one around the track, staying flat.
Number 4, Super Begonia, Ed Greeno Jr. drives and trains. Owns a partnership, I'm sure, with E.G. Trot of Findlay. The 3-year-old bay gelded son of Enterprise out of the striking Sabre mare, Sprightly Begonia. 6 starts, has 1/3, $2,400. Lifetime, $6,600. Showed some breaks last time out. Start before that at Hicksville. Trotted a mile in 2:07 and 2. The 4, Super Begonia and Ed Greeno Jr.
I see Teresa Todd Milhone bred Wilder. I wonder if she named that after Mike Wilder.
I believe it's Heather. That was the story I heard.
Okay.
Yeah, one night, I was working OHHA
I have
last
to
year.
give credit to the right half,
Yes,
right?
I believe you're right on that. I was working OHHA at Tiffin last year, and I think Mike Wilder might have called me about this horse Wilder racing.
Mm-hmm. I told you we don't have 2-year-old filly trotters today, but I see Ed Greeno Jr., who has a Forest in this race. He owns a track record for 2-year-old filly trotters with Win-Win Sis back in 2019, 2:03 and 2.
Mike Wilder and I go back a long way. I can remember Mike Wilder. He's probably 10, 12 years younger than I would be. His stepfather, Dave Ritter, at the Shelby County Fair in Sydney. I can remember Mike growing up, and I actually called. Mike just got his 9,000th career win, I believe, and I called his very first win at Springfield, Ohio, I believe it would have been.
Those kind of landmarks, or whatever you want to call them, you seem to recall those in your career.
Yeah. Yes.
As an announcer, I'm sure. Certain drivers that get their first win.
Chris Page, I called his first win at the Champaign County Fair, I believe, on a Sunday afternoon. I don't know how many years ago that would have been.
Chris Page hoping to be back in the bike soon.
And he is back in the bike.
Is he back?
Yeah, I believe he went maybe Wednesday. Tuesday he went to, I'm just picking this up by I put his name in the USTA to see where he was, if he was back driving. And his first drives was he went over to qualify some at the Meadows for Burke.
Okay.
That was on Tuesday, and I believe he came back Wednesday night at Scioto and had a win or so
All right.
Wednesday night.
Well,
so
that's
he
good.
is back in the bike.
That is good. He actually, that was a pretty quick recovery for
Yes,
the
it
kind of
was. Yes.
accident it was.
Oh, broken ribs seems like it'd be real tough sitting in a sulky.
Gates rolling. Field of 4. Race day. Grover Hill, Wilder, and Super Begonia for $6,100. Great crowd on hand. Probably one of the biggest crowds you'll see all year, other than Greenville for the partial futurity and the Regal night. They get a big crowd, but
The main
I mean, a
grandstand's
great crowd.
almost packed.
Yes,
The little
yes.
annex is less, but
Great food here, as you mentioned, Trish. You're going to walk around and check this fair out after we're finished racing.
no doubt.
3-year-old Colt Trotters. Let's go to Bill Peters. He's going to give us the call of the third.
Here they come. The year off and trotting. That's race day at the rail, and Grover Hill on the outside battling it out for the early lead. And their third, that's Wilder. And the last horse is Super Begonia. As they make the turn now to head down the backside to race over toward that quarter-mile mark, Judy Hill has race day along the rail with the lead. But pouring on the pressure on the outside second is Grover Hill, driven by David Lake. Off stride third goes Super Begonia, driven by Ed Greeno Jr. And now trotting up to take over third is Wilder, driven by Pierce Henry. As they go to the quarter-mile mark, it is still race day with the lead. A length and a half back second, it is Grover Hill. First quarter trotted in 28 and 2/5 seconds. As they race around that upper turn to come down past the stand for the first time. That's race day by 2 lengths over Grover Hill. Trotting third is Wilder, and the last horse is Super Begonia. No change as they race down to the half. That's June Eve and race day, bringing the horses down to the half. Sitting in the golden chair second, that's David Lake with Grover Hill. Farther back third comes Wilder, and then comes Super Begonia. First half trotted in 59 and 1/5 seconds. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over to that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is race day, and the closest horse second is Grover Hill. Wilder trots third, edging up on the outside fourth now is Super Begonia. Going toward that 3/4 mile mark. That's race day by a length and a half over Grover Hill, and Grover Hill's just a wee bit closer now. Moving up, Super Begonia now trots up to be third, and back to fourth is Wilder. Past that 3/4 mile mark, that's still race day with the lead. David Lake still edging Grover Hill up a little closer to second on the outside. 3/4 in 1:30 and 4/5, and now David's got Grover Hill out and on the move. At the rail, that's with the lead, that's race day. On the outside second is Grover Hill. Race day at the rail, and Grover Hill on the outside as they turn for home. Race day at the rail, Grover Hill flying on the outside. Race day and Grover Hill and race day. It's going to be Grover Hill, and here they all come. Race day up for place, and up for third is Super Begonia. A mile in 2:01 and 4/5.
That was actually like 2 separate races.
Yes, 2
almost,
separate
even though it was
races,
a
yes.
short field. We had a nice battle there between the 1 race day and the 2 Grover Hill, especially picking it up in that final quarter. So it was an exciting finish, although we can safely say that Grover Hill emerged victorious.
Race day, and Drew Neal set some hot fractions. Quarter 28 and 2, half 59 and 1. Then they slowed up that back half. 1:30 and 4 for 3/4. The mile 2:01 and 4. Grover Hill. The 3-year-old bay gelding, the son of What the Hill.
The other pair of horses, that was probably actually good for them because both of them are needing to get their lessons in a little bit still. And when they have somebody to race against, and they were closely matched, so that was probably a good thing for them. And we'll see. I actually can't tell you who was third and who was fourth. Can you, Doug?
The 4 Super Begonia, Ed Greeno Jr. was third, and the 3 Wilder was fourth with Pierce Henry.
All right. Well, thank you for that. As I said, Ed Greeno, he seems to concentrate on the trotters, and
Yes.
as I mentioned, does hold a track record here, but you'll have to see whether that gets broken tomorrow night. So the record for this 3-year-old colt trots belongs to Don Harmon, who trained and drove Rompaway Bow to track record here performance in 2009, 158 and 1.
And now moving down the track and into the winner's circle, over the winner's go, coming from right here.
Fulton County, Swanton, Ohio, comes number 2, Grover Hill. Owned by Sean McGee, trained by Ty Bates, and driven to victory this afternoon by David Lake.
Group making it
Blanket
to
for
the
this
winner's
race is
circle.
courtesy of Country Dog Salon of Archbold. Let's have a big hand here for Sean McGee, David Lake, and Grover Hill at the Country Dog Salon, the donors of the blanket.
All right, so that takes care
There
of
are the
that third
official
race. We'll
placings
get the
for race
rundown
3
right
from the
here.
top. Number 1, Race Day was second. Number 2, Grover Hill was the winner. Number 3, Wilder was fourth. Number 4, Super Begonia was third. Time of the first quarter was 28 and 2/5. The half was in 59 and 1/5. The 3/4 in 130 and 4/5, with a mile in 2:01 and 4/5. From the top, it should read 2:14, 3 on the bottom. The mile in 2:01 and 4/5.
Do you guys know, is there a town in Ohio, Grover Hill?
Yes.
I drove through it, I think, on the way back from Van Wert.
You did.
Positive.
You did.
Okay.
That's
Yep.
that's what the horse is named after.
Okay, all right.
Yes, and Grover Hill, I believe. I talked to Ty Bates about that last year when the horse was a 2-year-old at one of the fairs, and he is named after the town Grover Hill, and he is blind in one eye.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's an
And it
interesting
might be
note.
his right eye
That-
where.
That doesn't seem to
Yes.
stop the horses,
No.
not being blind in one eye. They seem to be able to overcome that as a racehorse and any other persuasion as well. Interestingly enough, you mentioned Grover Hill. That is one thing people don't realize how much there is in their own backyard. And driving to these fairs, you see a lot. And
Yeah.
you just kind of remark to yourself, "Wow, I didn't know that." Okay, we're going to have the fillies trotters on tap next in our 4th race. It's a 1-mile trot. Is there only one division of that, did you say, Doug? Or is it
Yeah, one
two?
division for
One
12,000,
division,
a field of
12,000.
6.
So we'll be back after a few short messages.
For over 50 years, Midland Acres has provided top-quality Ohio-bred colts and fillies. As a third-generation farm, we understand the importance of delivering well-cared-for and well-mannered yearlings. Get in the winner's circle with the yearlings by Fear the Dragon, Yankee Cruiser, Long Tom, Summa Cum Laude, Ready for Money, and Bit of a Legend. See our yearlings at the Blooded Horse Sale August 27th and the Ohio Select Sale September 13th.
Do you want your horse to shine in the winner's circle? Feed DAC Oil. It makes a world of difference.
The Delaware County Fair, where history meets horsepower. Get ready for the thrill of a lifetime as the world-famous Little Brown Jug takes center stage. Witness the heart-pounding action, the thundering hooves, and the sheer determination of these incredible athletes. Compete for the coveted Little Brown Jug title. Don't miss your chance to be a part of history. For ticket and hospitality options, visit littlebrownjug.com. The Little Brown Jug, where champions are made and legends are born. Be there!
Well, we're back here at the Fulton County Fair in Wauseon, Ohio on a Labor Day weekend. 3-year-old filly trotters, Trish, going for $12,000. We got a field of 6. Number 1 is leading star, Mark St. Louis Jr. drives. This a $42,000 Ohio Select purchase. Jerry Meigel of Michigan owns. Steve Novak trains his 3-year-old bay filly by Watt the Hill. Has 3 wins in 17 starts, 3 seconds, 3 thirds. 17,500 on the year. 201 and 2 at Oak Harbor back in July. The 1, Leading Star, and Trish, the 2, Estizo. Drew Neal drives, and I believe you know a little bit about this filly.
I certainly do. I named her. I like to name the horses, and my husband and trainer Dalton Walls, along with Alan Wiesenberg, who I must say we sadly lost just a few days ago, bought this one as a yearling, and I started naming any creatine baby they had, if it was a filly, a female bodybuilder. So Estizo gets her name from Juliana Estizo, who's an international bodybuilder that has Instagram following about over 500,000. But the filly has done well this season. She's won 7 of 15 starts with 1 second, 2/3, and bankrolled $44,205 and earning a mark of 156. You'll get to take a peek at them pretty soon, but I'll give you a quick synopsis. She's won 4 of her last 5 starts, and Drew Neal gets the call today.
3 is Desert Hayes. Greg Bateson drives and trains for Hayter Stable. 3-year-old bay filly by Uncle Peter has 9 wins in 16 starts, 24,000 this year, 50,000 last year, 75,000 lifetime, 203 and 3 this year at Hicksville. Took her mark at the Delaware County Fair last year as a 2-year-old of 202 and 2.
Okay, we still have time for the 4. Now, this is Silazoo or Silazoo? Does anyone know?
I say Zillazoo. We'll see what Bill says.
Zillazoo. That sounds good. Trained and driven by Ed Greeno Jr. He's also the leasee of this one. Last started at Findlay, and I do not have that line to be announced. So we will be doing some guesswork there. But at Hicksville, made a break at the start, still picked up a check, finishing 5th. Made a break 3 back at Salina, but managed to finish 3rd. Overall, 10 starts on the season, 2 seconds, 3/3, and $6,067 in earnings. Still a maiden, no lifetime mark yet for this What the Hill.
Pierce Henry will drive the 5, May Blumont. $7,000 Buckeye Classic purchase. 3-year-old bay filly by Full Count. Greg Diamond of Bell, Florida, trains and drives. 5 starts, 1 win. That win coming just the other day at Van Wert. Won by a head, 203 and 2. 2 seconds, 2/3, 14,000 this year, 25,000 lifetime for the 5, May Blumont.
Another What the Hill filly here in Oh Well Bell, out of Bell's Victory Ring by Victory Sam. John Kineski is the trainer and the driver of this one, and part owner along with Patrick Kineski. 7 starts on the year, did not race as a freshman, so sometimes, that puts you behind the 8 ball a little bit. This one's still getting experience. Did make a break from the rail from the 1 hole at Van Wert and finished 5th. Before that was at Hicksville, or meant to race at Hicksville, but was scratched by the judges. And then 3 back at Napoleon on August 13th, finished 3rd. John Kineski has been in the bike in each one of these appearances with Oh Well Bell. Looking for another start and more experience today from post 6, which is the trailing position.
So it should be a good one. The post time favorite is your 2, Estizo, at 6-5. 9-2 on the 3, Desert Hayes, and at 8-5 on 5, May Blumont.
It's not going to be that easy of a race, though.
No, it's going to be.
It might look strong on paper that because of her mark at Miami Valley, but this is not an easy race. I do want to say Alan Wiesenberg was one of the kindest and strong fan of harness racing his entire life. His father always went to the races. They've owned many horses in Ohio, and Alan always loved to come to the fairs, and my heart actually aches as my family lost a very good friend, and my husband lost one of his best friends and partners just the other day. So many of you probably know Alan Wiesenberg, often called Wheezy or Doc, because he was an emergency room doctor in his career. His wife, of course, that's how they met. She was a nurse.
Our starting post word for race 4. This is the 3-year-old filly trot, going for a purse of $12,000 and a blanket courtesy of Different Angles Family Hair Care. Number 1 is Leading Star, owned by Jerry Meigel of Westland, Michigan, trained by Steve Novak, the driver Mark St. Louis Jr. Number 2 is Estaso, owned by Bruce Soulsby of Powell, Ohio, Dalton Walls of Greenville, Ohio, and Alan Weisenberg of Columbus, Ohio, trained by Dalton Walls, the driver Drew Neal. Number 3 is Desert Haze, owned by Hayter Stables LLC of Temperance, Michigan, and Greg Bateson of Toledo, Ohio, trained and driven by Greg Bateson. Number 4 is Silazoo, leased by E.G. Trot LLC of Findlay, trained and driven by Ed Greeno Jr. Number 5 is My Blumon, owned and trained by Greg Diamond of Bell, Florida, the driver Pierce Hendry. And number 6 is Oh Well Bell, owned by John Kineski III of Pemberville and Patrick Kineski of Bowling Green, trained and driven by John Kineski III. Horses will take one long score and go.
This race gonna set up as a good one. Estizo, our post-time favorite, drew inside. Drew Neal will get the drive. Drew's been liking the front end today. See if he can get it, if she's got enough gate speed to outbrush the 3, Desert Haze and Greg Bateson, who shows a lot of gate speed there.
I actually think it's better if she doesn't make the front, perhaps, in this one. Estizo is normally handled by Ronnie Gillespie, so that's another thing. Sometimes there are certain drivers that get along very well with certain horses. It's especially with trotters, and you kind of have to know some tendencies. So it's a question mark. Of course, as I said, Drew Neal's been on a real tear of late, knocking down a lot of victories for himself. One of the younger drivers that we see here at the fairs. But Estizo, she's versatile, and she, as you see back there, she can come first up. That was at Chillicothe, I believe. I have to say that Ronnie, the reason he is not in the bike is something that happens. All harness races are being watched closely by judges, whether it's at the fairs or the pari-mutuel tracks. And Ronnie Gillespie, who's one of my favorites because he drove a lot at the fairs for my little girl Glowface a few years ago, and he handled her quite well. But he had some little infraction, I believe, racing in Kentucky, and got a couple of days. So he's taking those days now.
Little vacation, a couple days off.
Yeah, sometimes they might enjoy that. I don't know.
Yeah.
As long as the fine that goes with it isn't too big.
Right.
Really looking across the way at the infield odds board. Good bet at 3-1 would be the 3, Desert Haze.
Coming off of 9 wins. Looking at this 5 horse out here, she is a big, good-looking filly.
She
struggle
might just
saying
be
her name.
coming into her own right now with that, and only 5. She's very green, But last year she had 9 starts, so there must have been a slow start this year. She trotted in 59-2 back on the 21st in a qualifier of May at Scioto Downs. 59-4, 59-2. 58-2, and then came to the county fairs.
Those full counts, actually, he does throw some big fillies because my husband in Dalton had one, and she was so growthy. She did not, I think she went to maybe one race as a 2-year-old, but she was big.
So the filly trotters have completed their score. They're making their way to the backside. It's headed to the Mike Wepkenberg starting gate. John Ingram, our official starter today.
Well, I'll be cheering extra loud for Estizo, so if I get carried away, don't mind me.
Yeah, this one's tough for me. I like so many of these horses. The 2 and the 3, I both really like. Now I'm growing fond of the 5. I don't want to see any of them lose, honestly.
Well, I'm hoping she wins one for Alan and that he's looking down on us.
That would be.
I really am. Like I said, couldn't say enough things about what a harness racing fan he was. It made him very happy, and he loved the fairs.
Yeah, I saw Dalton just, post the obituary today, too, and he really thought highly of him.
Leading star. On comes Estaso, Desert Haze, Silazoo with My Blumon on the outside in the first tier. 1 trailer, Oh Well Bell. They're at the post. Starting gate is rolling now. Here they come. Here, off and trotting the first horse away in the middle of the track is Desert Haze. Down at the rail second is Leading Star. Dropping in there third is Estaso. Silazu trots up fourth. Fifth on the outside is My Blumon, and the last horse is Oh Well Bell. As they make the turn now to head down the backside to race over toward that quarter-mile mark. Mark St. Louis has Leading Star on top by 2 lengths. Trotting in there second, that's Desert Haze, driven by Greg Bateson. Moving up a little closer third now is Estaso, driven by Drew Neal. Fourth is Silazu, driven by Ed Greeno Jr. Racing fifth is My Blumon, driven by Pierce Henry. And the last horse is Oh Well Bell, driven by John Kineski. First quarter trotted in 30 seconds. As they race around that upper turn to come down past the stand for the first time, horses are in straight alignment. That's Mark St. Louis with Leading Star showing on top by a length and a half over Desert Haze. Drew Neal has Estaso in their third. Ranging up on the outside fourth now is My Blumon. Fifth along the rail, Silazu, and Oh Well Bell trails. Coming down to the half now, Drew Neal is out and on the move with Estaso. That's Leading Star with the lead. Desert Haze along the rail second. On the outside third, that's Estaso, and My Blumon trots up fourth. First half trotted in 1 minute and 4/5 seconds. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that 3/4 mile mark. That's Leading Star by a length and a half. Desert Haze along the rail second. Estaso on the outside third. My Blumon is fourth. Silazu is racing fifth, and Oh Well Bell trails. Going to the 3/4 mile mark. That's still Leading Star with the lead. Locked in, no place to go along the rail. Second is Desert Haze, and on the outside third, that's Estaso. And now Desert Haze has room to get out as Estaso drops back. 3/4 in, 129 and 4/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's Leading Star at the rail with Desert Haze on the outside. Racing third is Estaso as they race for home. Leading Star and Desert Haze. Now Desert Haze takes over. Desert Haze and Leading Star. Leading Star coming back along the rail, but it's going to be Desert Haze for the 10th straight time. Up for place is Leading Star. Up for show is Estaso. 1 mile in 2 minutes.
10 in a row. That's unbelievable.
And a great last half there. I think 59 and 1, is that right?
Yes.
59 and 1. And so the post-time favorite finishes third in that one. And the 10 in a row for Desert Haze. That is some achievement.
I went back and talked to Greg and Jennifer Main before the races and visited Desi back there. They were a little worried about it. This was a tough division. This is
it's set up as a very good horse race.
Yep.
Estaso, Drew Neal had to come first up right before they passed us for the first time. He had no choice because they were coming at him from the back end. And the one that surprised me was My Blumon. I believe he was stacked up second over with cover and end up finishing sixth after that big mile at Van Wert. But they went up some pretty good fractions today. 30 seconds, 1 minute 4/5, 29 and 4, 2 minutes. Leading Star, Mark St. Louis cut the mile and just about hung on for the victory.
Yep, that one has been on the front quite a few times.
And Estaso, who looked going to the 3/4, we pretty much knew that she wasn't going to be the winner, but she battled back then. She battled back.
Well, it was not her day that way, but it was a nice mile, very nice mile. And kudos to the victor. And everybody loves to see those win streaks, whether it's in any sport, right? Especially if it's your favorite team or particular player.
Now, Matt, I know I've asked you this in the past. Is this anything to Hydraulic Hazel?
This is the half-sister.
Yep. Half-sister,
yep.
Okay.
Catching up on that 13-win streak of hers.
Yes.
And, of course, we spoke about her with Hall of Famer Chris Boring.
The winner's circle, where the winners go. Coming in for the 10th straight win comes number 3, Desert Haze, owned by Hayter Stables LLC of Temperance, Michigan, and Greg Bateson of Toledo, trained and driven to victory by Greg Bateson. The blanket for this race is courtesy of Different Angles Family Hair Care. And that mile of 2 minutes there equals the track record for 3-year-old filly trotters set by Be Home on Time back in 2007. That's a big hand here for Greg Bateson, Scott Bateson, Cooper Sambaugh, and Desert Haze, and the Different Angles Family Hair Care, the donors of the blanket.
What a clean filly. She doesn't seem to have a whole lot of equipment,
No,
Matt.
long body. Doesn't wear, you're right.
Pair
No
of
equipment.
blinders.
Nothing on her legs, correct?
Nope, not that I saw. That's what I was
Nope.
saying. Blind bridle. Does she have a head pull on that side? I didn't notice now.
Don't think so.
Nope,
I don't
very
believe-
clean filly.
Yeah.
The less equipment, the better if you can get away with it. But a trainer's toolbox has a lot of things, as we were speaking about some of the different headgear earlier in the show. There's been a lot of modifications made on equipment that people come up thing. There was the Pelling, for one thing, named after Brett Pelling. He has a bridle that he fashioned.
Shady Daisy shadow roll.
We were talking about that with Chris when you were looking for our next victim. Did you find him? Are you going to be able to talk to him on
No,
here?
I just
you
talked to him
wanted
in
say
private. He's not a
hello.
horse person. He's not
Well,
a horse
he's a
person.
fan, and we
Yeah.
love our fans
Yeah.
as well. Did he give us? He hasn't given us the
I
official
don't
rundown,
believe we
has
got
he?
the total rundown. I don't
No.
believe we did.
I know we get talking among
I
ourselves
have it
sometimes, and it's
unofficially.
hard to hear.
We on the same. We got a.
That track record held a long time, especially since the horses are getting faster and faster, younger and younger. Our breed has really refined over the years, too, in body style. They used to be what they considered more cobby, I guess, more coarse-looking and larger heads. But we see a lot of finer, not just in less equipment, but we see horses that have bodies that you would not necessarily recognize as a standard bred right off. You can fool a few people. They're making their way in the show ring as well.
I think the judges are wanting to look at a review of something, so I don't know.
Oh, well, in that
Must not
case, we
attack
will have a
the
pause.
Yeah, we will have a little delay here. They're wanting to look at a review of the film of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association film. Judge
Yep.
Paul Combs come down to
Look
take
at
a
the
look
replay.
at
Let
the
us know.
replay.
So we'll have a little bit of wait time here. As I was saying about the breed and doing well, so many of our standard breds have performed in everything from shows, horse shows of all kinds, dressage, jumping. And the one thing about the standard bred, they're a very young breed, as you know, and they're an all-American breed, having their foundation sire being Hambletonian. And he was born, I believe, if I'm correct, 1846. And that set everything off. And before there ever was a United States Trotting Association to govern our racing, it was the national breeders that started to have rules for what consisted of a standard bred. Now, the breeds that go into a standard bred, of course, are quite interesting, too. You had your Narragansett Pacer, but basically the Norfolk Trotter. And, of course, one of the most famous thoroughbreds that was exported from England over here to America, Messenger. And Messenger was the grandsire, I believe, of Hambletonian.
Okay.
So we have a lot of, and even, there's Morgan horse, some people say, in it, but they had to define what a standard bred was, and they did it, first of all, mainly by being able to perform a mile, or initially I think it was 2:20 or 2:30.
Which was a pretty good time back then.
Yes. But what a long way, baby, they have come.
Down to 145 and a tick, I believe. 45. I can
Yes,
remember.
my dad, you talked about predictions. My dad told my brother and I more than once, he said, son, more to my brother, you're going to see a day when these horses will go in 45. And at the time, you're talking, a couple decades, it just didn't seem
Now, I know when I
possible.
started calling races, gentleman I used to work for by the name of Irv Samples, I'll finish the story here in a minute.
Star was second. Number 2, Esteso was third. Number 3, Desert Haze was a winner. Number 4, Silazoo was fourth. Number 5, My Bluman was sixth. And number 6, Oh Well Bell was fifth. Time of the first quarter was 30 seconds. The half was in 1 minute and 4/5. The 3 quarters in 1:29 and 4/5, with a mile in 2 minutes. From the top, it should read 2-3-1. 4:65, a mile in 2 minutes. New record, new lifetime record on Desert Haze, and it equals the trotting 3-year-old filly trotting track record for the Fulton County Fair.
Finish your story, Doug.
When I started calling races one year at Lima, I believe it was my second year calling races, a horse by the name of Absalom, I know, broke the track record in 2 minutes, which was a great mile back then in 74 or 5 for a county fair. Never did I dream in my wildest dreams in my announcing career working Hoosier Park one night, I would call a mile of 47 3.
My brother went the second fastest mile at the time with a son of the Ponderosa over at Hoosier Park when he was racing there. Green River Gorge is owned by Mary and Tommy Dawson, and what a night that was. It was a special night. I can't remember. It was the Invitational, and I was so thrilled. It was a 49 mile for him driving and training.
So we had a nice try there, $65. Superfecta, $99.90. The winner, $880. Exacta, $34.80. Quinella, $11.80. So we got 4 down. We're on to the 5th. The 2-year-old filly Pace, a field of 5. We'll be back to take a look at all 5 right after these messages.
The future is bright in Ohio. Ohio Sire Stakes, Buckeye Stallion Series, 65 county and independent fairs. Whether it's the Ohio Sire Stakes, the Buckeye Stallion Series, or the county fair, Ohio has a place for your racehorse. This year, Ohio breds are racing for over $20 million in stakes purses. Be part of the winning. Breed, buy, race, win in Ohio.
Volstead, Coach K. Hanover, Slay, Ohio's top trotters stand at Dublin Valley Farms. Volstead's offspring include Sugar Instead, the 2023 Ohio 2-year-old Trotting Filly of the Year, and 2024 Ohio Sire Stakes winner Jurassic Hattie. Coach K. Hanover, the son of world record holder Walner, and Slay, the son of Chapter 7, standing his first season at Dublin Valley Farms. When you need supplies for your horse, one name stands out: Big D's. Since 1976, Big D's Tack and Vet Supply has been the equine experts you can trust. Whatever your horse needs is available at Big D's Tack and Vet Supply. Visit the retail outlet in Streetsboro, Ohio, or order online at BigDWeb.com for fast shipping. Most orders ship that day. Or call 1-800-321-2142. Big D's Tack and Vet Supply.
Our 5th race puts the spotlight on freshman filly pacers. This is our second division of 2-year-old filly pacers. The first race was the first division. I believe they went in 1:58.3. We'll see what they can do in this second division. Of course, the 2-year-old filly pace record, I already said, was set by CC Spice back in 2002 of 1:58. So that's they'll have to beat that to get the track record. We'll see how they do here. We're going to take a look at this field. The one horse is going to be driven by Mark St. Louis Jr. Her name is Granite Ridge Lady. She's a Dancing Yankee out of Vintage Babe by Vintage Master. Trainer Chad Williamson is what? Oh, Chad Williamson, I was trying to see here. He's had a pretty good record here this season, batting .252 as a trainer. This one owned by Red Rock Racing of Convoy, Ohio. Only 4 starts for this black filly. 2 seconds and a third, $4,627 earned. Her last start was at Van Wert on August 27th, where she sat in the pocket and finished second, pacing in 2 minutes and 4/5 with Mark St. Louis Jr. in the bike for that one. In fact, he's handled her in her last 2. Back at Hicksville, she had a 3rd place finish. She had a little break where she was scratched sick at Salina, but was also second on July 30th at Wapakoneta.
2, Really Are You Kidding Me, is a homebred for Dan Veneer, the 2-year-old brown filly by Racing Hill. We'll be back to take a look at the whole field right after this post parade.
Race 5, this is the second division of the 2-year-old filly pace. going for a purse of $6,440 and a blanket courtesy of Miller Construction of Ridgeville Corners. For one is Granite Ridge Lady, owned by Red Rock Racing LLC of Convoy, Ohio, trained by Chad Williams and the driver Mark St. Louis Jr. Number two is Really? Are you kidding me? Owned, trained and driven by Dan Vinier of Pemberville. Number three is Don't Cheese Me Off, owned and trained by Brian Boring of Adrian, Michigan, the driver Cameron Keena. Number four is Rose Run Amy, owned by Dr. Jill Dennell of Delta, Bill Rivenaugh and Gene Roth of Archibald, and Jeff Banke of Toledo, trained and driven by Jim Harrison. And number five is Rockin' Remy, owned, trained and driven by Derek Flowers of Jackson, Mississippi. Horses will take one long score and go to the gate. Mute your windows.
As we were mentioning, the two, Trish, Really Are You Kidding Me, is a homebred. Dan Vinier trains, drives, and owns this 2-year-old Brown Phillip of Racing Hill. 4 wins and 10 starts this year with 5 seconds to go along with it, pushing 23,000, 57-2 at Northfield Park. That was back on July 26th. Last time out was a winner 201-1 by 5 lengths at Mount Gilead.
And the 3-horse is another trifecta when it comes to owner, trainer, breeder. This one Brian Boring owns. It is a Bring on the Beach out of She Be GB's by He's All That. This one is definitely a blank slate. I watched her in the post parade, just thinking this is her first time that she's ever done this, where she had to line up and parade. She looked a little like she was looking around a little bit, a little bumpy perhaps, but Don't Cheese Be Off is her name. And who is handling her in the bike? As we have
I was
TBA.
looking across the way.
Cameron Keena.
Cameron
Keena.
Yep.
I think he's the youngest driver on the card today, maybe 18 years old. I'll have to look that up again.
The 4, Rose Run Amy, James Iresman trains and drives the 2-year-old Bay Filly by Racing Hill. Has a win in 6 outings, 3 seconds, $10,801, 203-4 at Attica. That is about 4 back on August 7th. Last time out did make a break at Van Wert. Finished 4th, beaten 5 lengths, 203-1 that day for Rose Run Amy.
Fresh off a wire-to-wire victory is the 5-horse Rockin' Remy, trained and driven and owned by Derek Flowers of Jackson, Mississippi. We saw Derek in the winner's circle earlier. We can see if he gets a double here today with this one. That first place finish was at Van Wert, pacing in 2 minutes and 2/5. Nice mile, but already had flashed speed. Raced at Scioto Downs in a 2-year-old non-winners of 1, just an overnight race there. Had the 6-hole, got away 7th, finished to a 4th place finish where she paced in 1:55-4, final quarter in 29-3. Overall on the season, 11 starts, 3 wins, no seconds, 4 thirds, $13,326 in earnings, and that mark at Van Wert, 2 minutes and 2/5. So there you have that field. You know, we had 22 drivers slated on the race today, and I got curious about the ages. The youngest driver is indeed Cameron Keena. The oldest, of course, will be a very experienced guy that we also like a lot, John Kineski III, 76 years old. I did a quick average, and the average age of the drivers on today's card is 42.5 years.
Some good inside information there.
I don't know if it would help with handicapping at all, but it is kind of interesting because our sport is so inclusive on a lot of levels. No ageism here.
Yeah. You're correct on that. Field of 5, 2-year-old Philly Pacers. Let's go to Bill Peters.
Here they come. The year off and pacing the first horse away is Really? Are you kidding me? Dropping in there second, that's Rose Run Amy. Moving along third is Rockin' Remy. Moving up fourth is Granite Ridge Lady. And the last horse off stride is Don't Cheese Me Off. As they make the turn now to head down the backside to race over that quarter-mile mark, Dan Vinier has Really? Are you kidding me? On top by 2.5 lengths. Racing second is Rose Run Amy, driven by Jim Harrison. Moving along third is Rockin' Remy, driven by Derek Flowers. Right there fourth is Granite Ridge Lady, driven by Mark St. Louis. And farther back fifth is Don't Cheese Me Off, driven by Cameron Keena. First quarter was paced in 30 4/5 seconds. as they race around that upper turn to come down past the stands for the first time. That's Really? Are you kidding me? On top by 2 lengths. Pacing second is Rose Run Amy, and now Derek Flowers moves Rockin' Remy up on the outside third. And closing in fourth, that's Granite Ridge Lady. Front 4 well bunched as they come to the half-mile mark. That's Really? Are you kidding me? Along the rail lead with Rose Run Amy pouring on the pressure on the outside second. Rockin' Remy right there third, and moving up fourth is Granite Ridge Lady. First half paced in 1 minute and 3/5 seconds. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over to that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is Really? Are you kidding me? On the outside second is Rose Run Amy. Rockin' Remy is along the rail third. On the outside fourth, that's Granite Ridge Lady, and farther back fifth is Don't Cheese Me Off. Going to the 3/4 mile mark. Rose Run Amy sticks her nose out in front on the outside. Coming back second along the rail is Really? Are you kidding me? And now Rockin' Remy has room to move out of that 3-hole. 3/4 in 1:30 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. Now, Really? Are you kidding me? Regains the lead along the rail with Rose Run Amy on the outside second. And 3 wide comes Rockin' Remy as they race for home. That's Rose Run Amy. Really? Are you kidding me? And Rockin' Remy. Rose Run Amy, and Really? Are you kidding me? It's going to be Rose Run Amy. Up for place is Really? Are you kidding me? With Rockin' Remy up for third. 1 mile in 1:59 and 1/5.
Big round of applause for Don't Cheese Me Off.
As a horse owner, that is not fun.
No. I'm sure not as a driver as well. That can't feel great. The horse looked good when it was pacing, but she was just looking at a lot of things out there.
Yeah, I noticed even in the post-grade she was looking around, looked
Yeah.
a little bumpy, so I wasn't that surprised. But, hey, you got to start somewhere, right?
That's right.
When they came to the half, it was really a funny rate. You know, the mile being cut, 30 4/5, minute and 3/5. Really, are you
Pretty
kidding me?
even
Cutting the
fractions,
mile,
yeah.
even fractions, and out comes the 4, Rose Run Amy. And I thought, boy, I don't understand this. And the outer flow began right there. I guess that's why they're the drivers and I'm the announcer.
Well, you know, it's so easy, but you might remember, well, it's not Big D's, but I'll say Big D's now because I can't remember what the store that used to be popular for sailing. My dad used to say that they don't sell lines long enough to reach up to the
Yeah,
grandstand.
yeah.
But people in the grandstand think they often know the maneuver or the move that a driver should make, but you're seeing it in a whole panoramic view, and they're listening for speed behind them and different things. They can only see so much.
So it's a second win for Rose Run Amy, the 2-year-old Bay Phillip by Racing Hill. Out of the Western Terre Mare. Private Performance. She's owned by Dr. J. Dental of Delta, Ohio. J. Rufanek and G.A. Roth and J.E. Banky of Toledo.
Comes number 4, Rose Run Amy, owned by Dr. Jill Denno, Bill Revenaugh, Gene Roth, and Jeff Banky, and trained into the victory by Jim Harrison.
So that victory following a miscue
The blanket for this
in her
race
last
is
start.
courtesy
That's
of
great.
Miller Construction of Ridgeville Corners. We're going to have to all be in the winner's circle. If not, we're going to have a bigger winner's circle made next year.
Final half, 59-3 for Rose Run Amy, who was out that back half.
That was the slower of our two divisions, however. The first race winner 158-3, and this one 159-1, and the track record stands.
She an $11,000 Buckeye Classic purchase. Earnings now go over $14,000 on a year for Rose Run Amy.
Lots of horse sales lining up this fall, and
We'll
already
touch
had
on them
one.
here quickly. We'll get the results and we'll touch on that since you brought these horse sales coming up.
Yes, I think they're fun to go to. What do you
Yes.
think, Doug?
Yes. That would be my dream job, would be an auctioneer at the big sales.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I understand that from your perspective. However, I don't understand how those auctioneers can roll their tongues and
know,
do
I don't
that
either.
stuff. It's amazing.
We have another judge's inquiry in this race.
Another
Please hold on.
inquiry, so we're going to have
Tickets.
another
The
delay.
results
So
are
let's
given
talk
as
about
Yeah,
those
we can
horse
talk
sales.
a little bit. Yeah, we have a horse sale coming up. We had the budded horse sale just this last Tuesday. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
I know the only yearlings that I know that were. I know Midland Acres, one of our prime sponsors for the broadcast, sold 17 to 18 yearlings there. I didn't look at the. I know I talked to Lisa Swartz at Van Wert. She was there charting. One of their yearlings, I believe, brought 20 or 22,000. But then we go to the Ohio Select sale that's held at the Pickaway County Fairgrounds in Circleville. It's on Friday, the 13th of
Yes.
September.
Prices are generally a little higher at
Little
the
higher,
Ohio
'cause
Select
it's
sale.
the Select. But then you have Steve Cross's Buckeye Classic sale, and that is October 8th. I believe that's on a Tuesday at Springfield at the Expo Center, the Champion Center.
And
at
we also have
Springfield.
Ohio Breds down there at Lexington.
Yes, there'll be some Ohio
right.
Breds there.
And even out at Harrisburg in November.
Yes.
You'll find some. But if you are living locally and you don't own a horse, it doesn't preclude that you can't go to watch an auction. It's pretty exciting stuff, and there's generally some food and coffee and tidbits, and you can walk down rows where the horses are before they ever come into the ring and take a look at all these gorgeous animals, and they certainly are. And, you know, ownership-wise, well, I grew up in the sport, and I have had the thrill of owning what I considered a wonderful race mare, along with my brother, ATC Queenie. She was a Sire Stakes horse, and she still has, along with Lane of Stone, the Ohio Breeders' Championship aged record on the trot at Delaware. But she was a $7,500 purchase, ended up making $420,000. So very exciting.
That's the kind you want to
but
get a
I've
hold
entered
of.
into the breeding business now, and I did make a decision to sell her firstborn, which was very hard for me. I do have her secondborn, a filly, and I named her Little Queenie, and she'll be going to get her early lessons down in Florida with my brother at Sunshine Meadows. But my whole thing is you also can own just a little bit if you want to get introduced.
Yeah. I was
the
going to
Stable
touch on
CA,
that.
because I own 3% of one that's a three-quarter brother to ATC Queenie.
Stable.ca, they're one of our prime sponsors year in and year out. Horseplay Racing and Cedar Point Racing. Those are three that I know about, just a partial ownership.
So I mentioned how I like to name horses. Well, I named Irresistible Sun, the horse that I ended up getting 3% of, that is a three-quarter brother to ATC Queenie. And the reason was the horse went through the sale ring, and my husband and Dalton, anyway, they passed on him, and we didn't get him. So I thought, well, I'd like to be a part of his life. So I inquired, and sure enough, I bought just a 3% just for rooting interest, and so it's very exciting. Deb Rush, that charts at a lot of these fairs, she's one of my partners. She owns a little piece of Irresistible Sun, too. And I named him.
On the thoroughbred side, Rick Gleason, that does a lot of charting, owned Mage, part of Mage, that won the Derby.
Right.
And also this year,
Kim Rinker.
Kim owns part of the
one
gray.
that, what was that one that Matt knows?
Not
What's that?
The thoroughbred that won this summer.
Almost
Kim
Gray.
Rinker,
Kim Rinker.
I think you know. I thought
That
we
won the
mentioned that.
Preakness.
The thoroughbred, the Preakness.
I can't remember, honestly.
Gray something. Almost Gray, or
No, that's not right.
it's Gray something.
I know. And it is a gray horse, obviously. But yes, and Kim Rinker also devoted all her life to working in harness racing as well.
But yeah, you don't have to go to the sale and spend $25,000. You can get into these partial ownerships just for a few $1,000s just to
get your feet wet.
Yeah.
It's a good experience,
Yes,
and you're not
that's the way
going
to
to
get started.
spend a lot of money
Right.
or lose a million. Seize the gray.
Seize
I had
the
help.
gray.
You know, usually we have one of our
Yes.
phones on, and we're
Yeah.
looking at the people that are tuning in and watching and see
Sees the
where they're
gray.
coming from. And
I
sometimes
can't believe I
they-
couldn't come up with that.
And-
As soon as you said it, you
Yep.
know, like ding, ding.
I had thought you had mentioned it one time when we were on a broadcast anyway, but anyhow, we know the answer now. Thank you. We had a nice assist there. I appreciate that. So yes, and that of course is thoroughbreds. They have the same opportunity of some partial ownerships, but I must tell you, I'm sure that in comparison, the standard breds, my husband always says the poor man's horse, but that's not really true. The thing is, I guess overall, they are less expensive and they race more often, so you
Yes.
have more opportunity to earn back. They're also a horse that's good to be around, like Matt talks about jogging them and stuff. Most of them are pretty intelligent, level-headed horses
Yes,
that are
very much
pretty mannered.
so.
And by the time they go through those early lessons of learning so much, they've been around things that thoroughbreds could never handle. You know, being out on the track with the water wagons
Oh, a
and
crowd
the
in a
crowd
grandstand
and
like
everything.
this at the
They're
county
just-
fair,
Yeah,
that-
they just couldn't handle it. Honestly, I know they're my favorite breed of horse, but there's many, many reasons to fall in love with standard breds.
Our winner of the last race, 1720. We've had some nice payoffs. Here we get the rundown from Bill.
Granite Ridge Lady was fourth. Upper 2, really? Are you kidding me? Was second. Upper 3, Don't Cheese Me Off was fifth. Upper 4, Rose Run Amy was the winner. At number 5, Rockin' Remy was third. Time of the first quarter was 30 and 4/5. The half was in 1 minute and 3/5. The 3/4 in 1:30 with a mile in 1:59 and 1/5. From the top, it should read 4, 2, 5, 1, 3 on the bottom. The mile in 1:59 and 1/5. New lifetime mark on Rose Run Amy.
Doug's been giving us the payoffs, which is very nice. Of course, if you are watching from home and you're watching on the Facebook feed, you can hop on over to harnessracingohio.com and download a free program. They appear about an hour before post for everything, and it's very nice to follow along with the program. So if you just have a laptop or a computer and a printer, make sure you remember Harness Racing Ohio not only shows this live stream, but you can also download a race program there. And Doug, I guess we will go to a break and come back with a look at the sixth.
Yes. Sixth race, 2-year-old colt pace for $6,930. We'll be back right after this.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661.
Cool Winds Farm in Lima, Ohio is a full-service standardbred breeding farm. Cool Winds stands the popular dancing Yankee, a two-time world champion, along with 2019 Jug winner Southwind Ozzy, the son of Some Beach Somewhere. Cool Winds also stands the royally bred $2 million earning Western Fame. Be sure to inspect the Cool Winds yearlings at the Ohio Selected Jug Sale at Pickaway on Friday, September 13th.
Own a little and love it a lot. TheStable.ca is an award-winning fractional ownership operation. Buy as little as 1% of a racehorse and experience 100% of the thrill. TheStable.ca makes ownership easy, accessible, and affordable. Communication and customer service are at the heart of everything we do. Get started at TheStable.ca.
We're back. It's the second division of 2-year-old colt pacers. Of course, we saw that track record performance in the first division, the second race. So they have quite a marker to go to take that track record away that was newly set. In this sixth race, we had a slated field of 7, but with the scratch of the rail horse, Lather Up Athens, it reduces us to a field of 6. However, the trailers will still be in trailing position. You can only move in, you can never move up from that back tier.
Correct. So the one is scratched. The 2 in reality, Skip DeMall drives and trains. This 2-year-old bay got a son of Fool Me Once. A $14,000 yearling purchase. 6 starts on the year, has a third, just a little over $2,000. Been racing some in Michigan. Last start out at Hastings, Michigan. Finished 7th, paced the mile in 3 and 4. The 2 in reality.
The 3-horse Legend Air Ray, trained by Jason Hanna and driven today by Pierce Henry, is the least experienced one in the field here, only having 3 lifetime starts with no wins, no seconds, no thirds, so looking to hit the board perhaps in this one. Is coming off a scratch line, did not make it to Van Wert. Reason was personal, so we don't know about that, but did race at Attica on August 8th and finished 5th. And paced in 2:06 and 1. Before that was at Bowling Green, another 5th place finish with a mile in 2:08 and 3. In the initial appearance for his short career, he made a break and finished 7th. So there's the story on Legend Air Ray.
4 Spartan Hill, Mark St. Louis Jr., Ohio Fair leading driver on the year with 94 wins, will drive Spartan Hill. A $10,000 Ohio Select purchase for Jerry Migel, the 2-year-old bay got a son of Racing Hill. Out of the Sunshine Beach mare, Sweet Sun, Steve Novak trains. 6 wins in 9 starts with a third to go along with that. 21,747 on the year. The mark 55 and 3 at Northfield Park. That taken back on the 22nd of July. The 4 Spartan Hill.
Putting postword for race 6. This is the second division of the 2-year-old Colt Pace. Going for a purse of $6,930 and a blanket given in memory of Dick Roth. For 1 Leather Up Athens has been drawn. Number 2 is In Reality, owned by Tom and Sally Wadsworth of Sandusky, Michigan, trained and driven by Skip DeMall. Number 3 is Legend Air Ray, owned by Kim Haver of Bellevue, Michigan, trained by Jason Hanna, the driver, Pierce Henry. Number 4 is Spartan Hill, owned by Jerry Migel of Westland, Michigan, trained by Steve Novak, the driver, Mark St. Louis Jr. Number 5 is Dancing Everywhere, owned by Ed Harwood of Monroe, Michigan, trained and driven by Greg Bateson. Number 6 is Hot Shots Ray, owned and trained by Bill Webb of Defiance, the driver, Kim Pluta. Number 7 is Pat King Cole, owned and trained by Brian Boring of Adrian, Michigan, the driver, Cameron Keena.
All right, so we will pick it up. Were you finished with the 4 there?
Yes, I'm finished. You
All
can
right.
go with the 5, Dancing Everywhere.
All right. Trained and driven by Greg Bates and Day for owner Edwin Harward of Monroe, Michigan. This is a Dancing Yankee out of Power Everywhere by Kilowatt. 4 starts on the year with a sole second, $1,877 earned. However, this one has been racing very cleanly. The dates between races have been fairly lengthy. Last started on August 20th, and that was at Hicksville. Had post 2, finished 5th, and paced in 2:04 flat. The start before that was on August 12th, and that's an uncharted line, so I don't know about the movement in the race, but finished 4th and no individual time. Before that, Bowling Green, another 4th place, finished 2:05 and 3. And in the very first start, way back in June at Paulding, finished 2nd, 2:06 and 3. The interesting thing is the time between races for this one, I would say from June 11th to July 30th was a long break. So for some reason, the horse did not race for a number of weeks, over a month and about a month and a half. And then comes into this one off 11 days, similarly to the start before that.
Yep. Same with the little green horse here, the 3 Legend Air Ray, only 3 starts on the year. Both of these
scattered,
yep.
Very scattered.
So the 6 is Hot Shots Ray. Kim Pluta will drive for Bill Webb. 2-year-old Brown Gold, son of Cheyenne Ray, has 10 starts, has not found the winner's circle yet. 2 seconds though, 4,000 in earnings. Last time out finished 4th, beaten 10 1/4. That was at Van Wert. Paced a mile in 2:03 and 2. Back at Tiffin earlier in the year, paced in 2:02 and 4. A lot of 4th and 5th place finishes. On the lines below, it doesn't show anything about the 2 second place finishes. That must have been early in the year for Hot Shot Ray.
And we will finish up the field here with the 7, Pat King Cole. We're going to see young Cameron Keena in the bike here again for trainer Brian Boring, and also the owner of this, won by Rodeo Romeo out of Late Night Arrival by Hawaiian Cowboy. Last started at Van Wert, finished 6th, but paced in 2:02 and 4. Cameron Keena has actually driven this one in all the starts that I see, so very familiar with Pat King Cole. Before that, this one picked up a pair of thirds back at Attica on August 8th and also July 30th at Bowling Green. So has hit the board 2 out of 6 with $2,106 in earnings.
Trish, looking, it's football day today. We see a lot of Ohio State, but we're close to the Michigan border here. Look down the way, you do see some Michigan
Yes,
outfits.
I have to admit that I lived in Michigan. I lived out near Manchester and Saline for a number of years. That's where my brother Rick Shout drove his first race at 18, was at Northville Downs, not Northfield. So I spent a number of years in Michigan, and I was a Michigan State fan that had to, when I married and moved to Ohio, I had to change allegiance.
So you'll get back home in time probably to watch the second half of the Buckeyes game.
It's quite a drive. We'll see.
I think they kick off at 3:30.
Well, yes, exciting sports season ahead, both for the people that enjoy the college football and, of course, everybody seems to love the NFL.
And Wauseon, the hometown of Director of Racing at Sauda Downs, Jason Roth. And
I
he
did
is
not
a big
know that
Michigan
before
fan.
today.
Yes, big Michigan
Well, that's
fan.
why. Yeah, it's that
Yep.
vicinity. Sometimes my allegiance is very strong on certain teams of things. Growing up in Illinois, I got to attend many Cubs, the lovable losers, many Chicago Cubs games, and I'm still a fan of the Chicago Cubs as well as the Chicago Bears. However, I don't have a whole lot to brag about.
So we look across the way. The Mike Wepkenberg starting gate is moving into position. The wing will open. We just score 5 wide. The inside wing will open. We'll have 4 on gate with 2 trailers. They'll slide in a slot on the gate. In reality, Legionnaire Ray, Spartan Hill, Dancing Everywhere, the trailers, Hotshot Ray, and Pat King Cole. Gates rolling. It's post time for the 6 2-year-old Colt Pacers for $6,930. Let's go to Bill Peters for the call.
Here they come. Here, off and pacing the first horse away in the middle of the track is Spartan Hill. At the rail second is Legendary Ray. Moving up third is Pat King Cole. At the rail fourth is Hot Shots Ray. Racing in there fifth is In Reality, and the last horse is Dancing Everywhere. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that quarter-mile mark, Mark St. Louis has Spartan Hill on top by 2 lengths. Racing in there second, that's Legendary Ray, driven by Pierce Henry. A little farther back third comes Hot Shots Ray, driven by Kim Pluta. Fourth is Pat King Cole, driven by Cameron Keena. Up on the outside fifth is Dancing Everywhere, driven by Greg Bateson. And the last horse is In Reality, driven by Skip DeMoe. First quarter paced in 29 and 2/5 seconds. As they race around that upper turn to come down past the stands for the first time, that's Spartan Hill with the lead. Racing second, Legendary Ray. Dancing Everywhere now paces up third. Hot Shots Ray back to fourth. Racing in there fifth is Pat King Cole, and the last horse is In Reality. As they race past the half-mile mark, that's Spartan Hill by 2.5 lengths over Legendary Ray, and moving up third is Dancing Everywhere. First half paced in 58 and 1/5 seconds. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is Spartan Hill. The closest horse second is Legendary Ray. Dancing Everywhere is third and possibly pacing fastest of all. Moving up fourth on the outside now comes In Reality. Back to fifth is Hot Shots Ray. And also on the move is Pat King Cole. Past that 3/4 mile mark. Spartan Hill opens up about 7 lengths on Legendary Ray with Dancing Everywhere on the outside third. And moving up fourth is In Reality. 3/4 in 1:27 4/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's Spartan Hill now by about 15 lengths. Dancing Everywhere second on the outside. Third along the rail is Legendary Ray. And moving up fourth is In Reality. But past the stands, it's going to be Spartan Hill. And here the outcome. Looked like Legendary Ray got up for place with Dancing Everywhere for show. And up for the 4th spot, that's In Reality. A mile in 1:58 3/5.
58 3 for Spartan Hill.
They really slowed up the last half, and especially as they were coming for home, you could see a little bit of tiredness.
Especially that second bunch up.
Mhm.
It was pretty much a hand drive for our Spartan Hill, Mark St. Louis Jr., back half a minute and 2/5. Fractions of 29 2, 58 1 3/4, 127 4. Mark St. Louis Jr., our leading driver to Ohio Fairs this year, notches his 95th career
And the
win.
7th for Spartan Hill, 7 out of 10 now. Oh, passport.
You got a customer.
I can't understand the sign language sometimes, Doug. So we do have another young lady here picking up a passport.
A lot of passports today.
That's great. I'm curious as to how many fairs someone will attend that mails in their thing to see that who the winner is
We
and how
have
many appearances
65
they made at the
fairs.
fairs. Mm-hmm.
Would it be 40, 35, 32? That would be my guess, maybe. Well,
You're very
Is
welcome.
it different? I'm saying different fairs, but then it would
Mhm.
be the number of nights. Some fairs,
Right.
here would be
Yeah, you have to
two.
be each.
How many?
yeah.
How many? Well, I doubt.
Each card, yeah, they do it by cards.
Would it be in the 20s?
Not just the
if-
fair, actually.
What would your guess be for a regular fan attending? Would it be 24, 25?
I really
I mean,
have
not
no
stations.
idea.
I'm talking different fairs. That would
yeah,
be my
I know.
guess.
That would be that would be quite a feat, I think, because the fairs are spread out
Yep.
all over.
Jerry Meisel, trained by Steve Novak, and driven to victory by Mark St. Louis Jr. A blanket for this race is given in memory of Dick Roth. Dick Roth was from here and lived most of his adult life here in Wauseon, originally from Delta. Dick was a longtime starter here at the Fulton County Fair as well as many other racetracks throughout the Midwest. And his family gives this blanket here in his memory. Melissa Mount is in the winner's circle for the trophy presentation. Let's have a big hand here for Jerry Meigel, the Novak family, Mark St. Louis Jr., and Spartan Hill, and the family of Dick Roth for giving this blanket in his memory.
What's the closest fair to your home, Doug?
Mercer
Right
County.
where I live.
Okay.
About 3 mile away.
Mine's Delaware. Delaware is just about 18 miles, 17 miles from my doorstep.
I think I'm calling races at 22 Ohio fairs this year. Probably 31 to 32 fairs with OHHA work, so I'm just about going to beat a half of them this year. The blanket, as I was mentioning, this is the hometown of Jason Roth. Dick Roth had been the starter for many years at a lot of these fairs. Melissa Roth coming across the track now, that would be an aunt to Jason. As we mentioned, that Dick, a grandpa to Jason. Jason, the director of racing at Scioto Downs, who grew up here in Wauseon. Only bad thing about Jason is he's a Wolverine. That's the only bad thing I
We'll
can say
forgive
about
him for that. At least I will.
So 58-3 for Spartan Hill and Mark St. Louis Jr.
Waiting for the rundown here.
Nice try, $86, $210 for the winner.
Here are the official
Place
placings
money,
for race 6
$840.
from the top. Number 1, Lather Up Athens had been drawn. Number 2, In Reality was 4th. Number 3, Legend Air Ray was 2nd. Number 4, Spartan Hill was the winner. Number 5, Dancing Everywhere was 3rd. Number 6, Hot Shots Ray was 6th. Number 7, Pet King Cole was 5th. Time of the first quarter was 29 2/5. The half was in 58 1/5. the 3/4 in 127 4/5, with a mile in 158 3/5. From the top, it should read scratch 421 365, a mile in 158 3/5.
We've completed 2/3 of today's race program, so we'll be back to pick up with the final third after these messages.
For over 50 years, Midland Acres has provided top-quality Ohio-bred colts and fillies. As a third-generation farm, we understand the importance of delivering well-cared-for and well-mannered yearlings. Get in the winner's circle with the yearlings by Fear the Dragon, Yankee Cruiser, Long Tom, Summa Cum Laude, Ready for Money, and Bit of a Legend. See our yearlings at the Blooded Horse Sale August 27th and the Ohio Select Sale September 13th.
Do you want your horse to shine in the winner's circle? Feed DAC oil. It makes a world of difference.
Mark your calendar for the new and exciting North American Standard Bred Mix Sale, Tuesday, December 17th at the Mount Hope Event Center in Mount Hope, Ohio. Broodmares, broodmare prospects, racehorses, and stallion shares. Pedigrees announced by Ed Teefee and Gabe Pruitt. Online bidding, clean, heated facility. The North American Standard Bred Mix Sale. A live auction to see quality horses with industry-leading pedigrees. Tuesday, December 17th in Mount Hope, Ohio. Entries open September 5th.
We're back. It's the 7th race. It's the 3-year-old colt trot. It is the second division. Our first division was the 3rd race. They went in 158 1. We're having a field of 5 here. We're going to take a look at them, and then I have a few, I don't know if they're personal, but I have a few questions I want to ask my co-host here. So I'm going to jump right in here with the one-horse Zone. This one trained, driven, and owned by John D. Payne of Toledo, Ohio. Toledo, of course, being one of the places that had a wonderful racetrack with a great track kitchen, Toledo's
Yes,
Raceway Park. What a good memory for me. August 29th, this horse raced at Findlay, and the line was to be announced. Once again, we're not getting these lines.
He
so I
ran the entire way.
He ran the entire
Yeah.
way. That is
good
not
mem-
good
you got a
news.
It wasn't pretty.
That wasn't pretty, as
Matt's
Matt
got a
says.
good
But
memory.
hey, it's great having Matt on board because he fills in some of these blanks. Really appreciate it. Scioto Downs before that on August 27th had the rail and finished 8th, but did trot in an impressive 157 1. Then we need to go back to Lima. Had the 3-hole, finished 3rd. Hank Levan was in the bike and finished 3rd there, as I said, only beaten 2 3/4 lengths. Before that, Napoleon with a nice 2nd place finish. Overall, has raced enough times this year, this What the Hill colt. 25 starts, 2 wins, 3 seconds, 7 thirds, and really did some nice earning, $42,772. So early in the year must have been much more formful. 156 4, the record for the season at Scioto Downs.
Trish the 2, Luke's Rainbow, Kim Pluta drives for Brett Boyd, 3-year-old Bay Gutter, son of Lucky Chucky. 7 starts on the season, has a win, 2 seconds. Last time out, finished 5th, beaten 8.5, 6 1 at Michigan, a Hastings Fair in Michigan. Lifetime $12,000. Last season had 2 wins in 6 starts as a 2-year-old.
The 3, Rose Run Zeb, likes to go forward and has won 3 of his last 4 in that fashion, getting to the front and leading and lasting. But last time out from the 2-hole, not the case. Finished 3rd, beaten 4.5 lengths in 2:01 at Van Wert. The victories in wire-to-wire style came at Lima, Salina, and at Bowling Green. Overall on the year, 20 starts, 4 wins, 4 seconds, 6 thirds, $32,105 earned, and 159 4. Best mark this season at, Oak Harbor. Paulding last year, won at Paulding in 216 1 as a freshman. That's one of the earliest fairs on the Ohio circuit. David Lake in the bike, trainer Tyler Bates.
For Rankin, Mark St. Louis Jr. drives for Judy Rogner. 3-year-old bay go to the son of Inter Price. 4 wins in 14 starts with 3 seconds and a third, 21,000, 38,000 last year. Mark right at Northville last year as a 2-year-old of 2 minutes 4/5 this year. Last time out, 59-4 at Van Wert, the 4 Rankin.
Okay, we just heard that the 2 is off Lasix. That's a subject for another day. But the 5 is Adventure Pete. This time we get to see a lady driver in the bike. That is Rosie Weaver, who also trains and owns this one along with Heartland Acres. 12 starts on the year, 3 wins, 1 second, 2 thirds, $13,600 in earnings, and a record at Northfield on a sloppy track of 2 minutes and 2/5. Now, Rosie has been handling this one in the last 4 starts. Adventure Pete made breaks from the 3-hole, both in the last 2 appearances. Recovered 2 back to finish 5th at Wilmington in 2:08 and 2. Did not recover at Mount Gilead, finishing 7th, well beaten. But if you go back, the 3rd start was a wire-to-wire winner by 6.5 lengths in 2-4 at Napoleon. And before that at Attica, also wire-to-wire style, 2:04 and 3, both with Rosie in the bike.
Division with a 3-year-old colt trot. Going for a purse of $6,200 and a blanket courtesy of Beethoven Farm. Number 1 is Zoned, owned, trained and driven by John Payne of Toledo. Number 2 is Luke's Rainbow, owned by Tony Langhan of Hillsdale, Michigan, trained by Brett Boyd, the driver Kim Pluta. Number 3 is Rose Run Zeb, owned by Suzanne Bates of Gibsonburg and Joel Shevach of Woodville, trained by Ty Bates, the driver David Lake. Number 4 is Rankin, owned and trained by Judy Rogner of Croswell, Michigan, the driver Mark St. Louis Jr. And number 5 is Adventureful Pete, owned by Rosie Weaver of Beach City and Heartland Acres of Wall Hunting, trained and driven by Rosie Weaver. Change the driver on number 5, Adventureful Pete, to Drew Neal. Drew Neal driving number 5, Adventureful Pete.
So there we have it. And as I said, I wanted to ask a few questions of Doug here. And one of them, Doug, is here you are, you're sitting on the sidelines, and yet I would say your main job is announcing. And do you get like, I don't know, do you almost like call it in your head as you see them going around, or?
Not really. No, not really.
No, you don't?
I know when I have the headset on and Roger's calling, I get goosebumps. Just thinking when I was a kid and listened to him. I don't know, his voice coming through that headset just gives me goosebumps.
So what's the hardest
part?
part? What's the hardest part as an announcer? What's the hardest part of the job?
Calling them out.
Calling them,
begging them to come out. Yeah, as an announcer, between races, you really don't get a break. You're always got 3 out, 2 to go. Otherwise, the program just drags,
So I believe you said Roger introduced you and actually helped you hone your skills as an announcer?
I am the first one to graduate from the Roger Houston School of Announcing in 1970. And then about 6-7 years later, everybody knows the name Sam McKee, Hall of Fame announcer, was the second. Sam and I grew up together. Sam would actually fill in at some fairs when he was just starting, when they would overlap. Sam would do some fairs for me. And but Roger and I go back a long way. I first heard Roger's race call in 1969 when I went to the Champaign County Fair in Urbana, and I knew right then I was going to be an announcer. The horse, everything like Roger Houston says, his career, if he wouldn't have took that right when he should have took a left or vice versa, he might not be where he's at today. And Roger talked to me about that the other day when we were at Lima together. He was there at the OHHA, and on the way home, he said, if I wouldn't have been in June of 1970 at Scioto Downs jogging horses for Mark Ferguson, and you wouldn't have happened to be there calling the qualifiers, wanting to become an announcer, you might not be where you're at today. It's
What
being
would
at
you
the
have
right
wanted to
place and
do
the right time.
if
I actually
not?
wanted to be an auctioneer.
Oh my goodness. So this is, I think it would be hard. How do you memorize the horses?
It's
you have a system?
The color, the driver's color. Now, I really got confused at Greenville with the Regal. We had the same color saddle pads and it was dark. And there's something about the lighting that night. I didn't get a chance to go through the field. The way I do it, an 8-horse field, I knew Dan Noble that night was driving Charlie May, so I knew Dan Noble and Charlie May. He's the 8-hole, so I know where to look on the program for Dan Noble. I don't look for the horse. I look for the driver and then put the name with it.
So driver first,
Jeff
name
Nysonger,
second.
I remember in that race, had the 6-hole, so I glanced down at the bottom of the program when I see Jeff. And, the rail that night was Ronnie Gillespie, and that's the way I do it. But it's so easy with you have the colored saddle pads, the red,
tricks of the trade,
white,
so you know
blue.
the number of the
Yes.
horse as well as their
Yes.
name and the driver. But yes, a lot of fairs, or maybe not a lot, but some places have the same color saddle pad throughout the whole field, and
Yes,
that is difficult.
It is tough. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I did call a few qualifiers in Chicago at Maywood Park once just for the fun of it, but it was not hard when they were scattered. But when they're close up, I thought, you don't have time. You got to be thinking on your feet. I would think you have to have a very sharp mind and a good memory.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of it. My wife didn't think I got much of a memory. If she sends me to the grocery store to get something, I got to call how many times to remember what it is or, what aisle it's in.
What advice would you give anybody listening, maybe a younger person that thought, boy, I've always wanted to maybe get a career in harness racing, and I think the idea of being an announcer appeals? What would they do?
Yeah, we're going to need announcers because, I'm 71 years old. My goal is to follow in Roger Houston and Bill Peters' footsteps. 65. This is my 55th year. You got to tag along. And just, you call a horse race in a shower, you call a horse race driving. That's the way you learn to call horse. I used to call horse races when I'd mow the yard on the riding mower after I hear Roger Houston.
You're something else. That's quite a story. So you've never looked back, and it's been a good career for you.
It's been a great part-time job. I could have went full-time to Scioto several times. To Raceway Park, a couple tracks in New York, had no desire. I enjoyed getting to fill in at Scioto for Barry Vickroy and at Dayton and different places for him. And I really enjoyed this Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association broadcast. As Roger Houston said, he's never worked a day in his life at a full-time job. I can say I've never worked a day in my life at my part-time job that I've had for 55 years, though lately, since I've retired the last 9 years from my full-time job, I'll be on the go 70 nights this summer, so it is getting to be a full-time job.
Having worked with Roger Houston for 6 years at the Meadows on the Meadows Racing Network, I can tell you he is all harness racing.
Yes.
All about it.
Yes.
Here they come. Here, off and trotting. The first horse away is Luke's Rainbow. Charging up on the outside second is Invincible Pete. Down at the rail third is Zone. Moving up fourth along the rail is Rankin. And the last horse off stride is David Lake with Rose Run Zeb. As they make the turn now to head down the backside to race over that quarter-mile mark. That's Drew Neal out there on the front end with Invincible Pete. Racing in there second is Luke's Rainbow, driven by Kim Pluta. Racing third is Zone, driven by John Payne. Now Rankin with Mark St. Louis moves up on the outside fourth. Now third, now second, and going after the leader. First quarter trotted in 30 and 1/5 seconds, and now Rankin takes over. Dropping back second there at the rail. That is Invincible Pete. Racing third is Luke's Rainbow. Right there fourth is Zone, and farther back fifth, that's Rose Run Zeb. As they come down to the half-mile mark, that's Rankin bringing the horses down to the half. Sitting in the golden chair second, that's Drew Neal with Invincible Pete. Racing third is Luke's Rainbow. Zone is right there fourth, and then comes Rose Run Zeb. First half trotted in 59 and 4/5 seconds. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is Rankin. 2 lengths back second is Invincible Pete. Racing in there third is Luke's Rainbow. Charging up on the outside fourth now comes Zone. And farther back fifth is Rose Run Zeb. Going toward that 3/4 mile mark. That's Rankin now by about 3.5 lengths over Invincible Pete. Zone is on the outside third. Fourth at the rail is Luke's Rainbow. And farther back fifth, Rose Run Zeb. 3 quarters in 130 and 1/5. As they race around the upper turn to head for pay dirt. There on the front end is Rankin. Closing in a wee bit second now is Adventurable Pete, and Zoned is trotting third. As they turn for home, that's Rankin, Adventurable Pete, and Zoned. Rankin and Adventurable Pete. Rankin and Adventurable Pete. It's going to be Rankin, and here they all come. Adventurable Pete up for place, up for show is Zoned. A mile in 2:01 and 2/5.
Just a couple ticks faster than the first division.
201 and 2 for Rankin, 30 and a fifth, 59 and 4, 130 and 1. Rankin, Mark St. Louis Jr. gets his second winning drive of the day. Fifth of the year for Rankin.
This horse probably named after the late great Dave Rankin, I would imagine.
That's my thinking.
Spotted him about 15 at the start, too.
Yes,
Big mile.
actually,
did make a break.
He was rank. I don't know what was bothering him. I know he likes, I don't know. He likes to go the last time he did, but he was on top in his last race, and I don't know what he was doing there, but he actually was a little bit rank, a little hard to handle. He almost darted off to the right.
Yes, and he got him settled pretty quick, and right when they settled to go down the backside that first time out of that opening turn, he was on the move and grabbed the track right past the quarter.
Definitely with a few miscues from the others, it left it pretty easy for him, and he was the best of them in this field today. So I think when we talked about track records, we did not break one here in either division, because the 3-year-old Colt Trot was 158 and 1, as I said earlier, with Rompaway Bo and trainer driver Don Harmon. Coming back here to the winner's circle. This one wearing opposite as others. He's got the head pull on, has a trotting hopples on, has a small, that leather, I know that bridle. Can't think what it is at the moment.
I've been away from it for so long, I don't really know what a lot of that stuff is.
For Rankin, owned and trained by Judy Rogner and driven to victory this afternoon by Mark St. Louis Jr. The blanket for this race is courtesy of Beethoven Farm.
Getting hard.
Let's do a big hand here for Judy Rogner, Charlie Gilhouse, Stacy Curry, Brian Novak, Mark St. Louis Jr., and Rankin, and the Beethoven Farm, the donors of the blanket. Here are the official placings for race 7 from the top. Number 1, Zoned, was 3rd. Number 2, Luke's Rainbow, was 4th. Number 3, Rose Run Zeb, was 5th. Number 4, Rankin was the winner. And number 5, Adventurable Pete, was 2nd. Time of the first quarter was 30 and 1/5. The half was in 59 and 4/5. The 3 quarters in 130 and 1/5, with a mile in 2:01 and 2/5. From the top it should read 3, 4, 5, 1, 2 on the bottom, a mile in 2:01 and 2/5.
In the upcoming race 8, there will be wins, plays, exacta, and trifecta wagering, and a late daily double on races 8 and 9. The representative of F&M Bank, trackside after the next race for the trophy presentation. Okay, Matt.
Okay. So we just saw Mark St. Louis Jr. pick up his second, you said.
Of the
So
day.
before we go for a break here, how about a little trivia? Who is Harness Racing's leading dash winner overall in the United States? Well, actually overall, I think, in North America.
Dave Pallone.
That's right, from the Meadows, where Roger called so many years and I worked as well. Dave Pallone, if you can believe it or not, is closing in on 21,000 victories. And with that, we're going to take a break and come back with some more chat from Doug and I here at the Fulton County Fair.
With the signing of the Treaty of the Miami in 1818, this northwest portion of Ohio opened up to settlers. The first log cabin in this area was built by 40-year-old Elisha Williams, who arrived from Seneca County with his wife and 4 grown children in October of 1835. That was the very same year of the infamous Toledo Wars, which was contested just with a lot of positioning and a few warning shots fired, although one Michigan sheriff did get stabbed with a penknife. It wrested the control of the Toledo Strip and moved the boundary of Michigan and Ohio 7 miles further north to its present latitude. In 1839, the last of the Ottawa tribe and the chief Wauseon were removed to west of the Mississippi. By 1850, the canal craze had brought Europeans by the thousands into the area. That year, Fulton County was formed from parts of Henry, Lucas, and Williams counties and named for Robert Fulton, the inventor of his North River steamboat, later renamed the Claremont, which in 1807 had traveled a 300-mile round trip between Albany and New York City in just 62 hours and opened up the rivers and Ohio to the world. The original county seat would be named Center, as a stake was placed exactly in the middle of the county. They would rename it Atoke, which was the last of the great Ottawa chiefs to plead their case to stay in Ohio, and who was a half-brother to Chief Wauseon. The railroad arrived in Wauseon in 1853, and it became the commercial center of Fulton County. A mere 5 years later, in 1858, the very first Fulton County Fair was held in Atoke on a farm. But then the fair was moved to a present site less than a mile south in Wauseon. The racetrack is considered one of the best in northwest Ohio's, and with as many improvements to the grounds as well as its barn area over the past 162 years, Fulton County Fair is now the 3rd largest fair in Ohio and still growing.
The roots of harness racing are born at the county fair. For over 150 years, people have gathered to watch horses battle it out for fame and glory. Catch the thrills this summer at an Ohio Fair Racing Conference County Fair. The OFRC races at 22 fairs in 20 Ohio counties. Trotters and pacers put it all on the line to be called the best in the Buckeye State. The Ohio Fair Racing Conference, where the path to greatness begins.
The Delaware County Fair, where history meets horsepower. Get ready for the thrill of a lifetime as the world-famous Little Brown Jug takes center stage. Witness the heart-pounding action, the thundering hooves, and the sheer determination of these incredible athletes compete for the coveted Little Brown Jug title. Don't miss your chance to be a part of history. For ticket and hospitality options, visit littlebrownjug.com. The Little Brown Jug, where champions are made and legends are born. Be there!
We're back here at the Fulton County Fair in Wauseon on this Labor Day weekend. Down to our final 2 races on the card. 8th race, a condition trot for $1,000, just a field of 4. Beginning with the 1, starlets this Swan Day. Skip the Ball trains drives. The 7-year-old Brown Goat, the son of Swan for All, has $64,000 in earnings lifetime, $2,000 this year. Took a mark as a 4-year-old at Pompano Park of 56-1. Been racing at a lot of Michigan fairs throughout the year. The 1 started this Swan Day and Skip Dem All.
Skip Dem All has what would normally be an entry, but they uncouple for wagering purposes. Trainer Skip Dem All has the gelded 7-year-old by Father Patrick out of Jupiter by Donata Hanover, named Solar. Solar has had just 8 starts this year with 2 wins, 1 second, no thirds, $2,420. And up in Michigan, won at the Bad Axe Fair in 201-3. Last season, had a victory at Hoosier Park in 156-4. Finds himself in this overnight race here at the fairs. Non-winners of $5,000 in 2024 trot. Also eligible non-winners of $1,000 since July 15th. So meeting those conditions, even being a 4,000 claimer, you could enter in this one. This one has not seen action since August 9th, where he finished 4th. Had a victory that's uncharted there, 3-back at Bad Axe. That's the win, the sole win on this. No, 2 wins this season. That was his most recent win this season.
3, MVP Luke. I believe the driver's going to be Drew Neal. He was on the track, went off for an equipment adjustment, it looks like. Drew Neal, the 3 MVP Luke, has just 5 starts, has a win on the year, 5,500, a winner at Northville, 2 minutes.
Our start printing post word for race 8. This is a trot for non-winners of $5,000 this year. Also eligible non-winners of $1,000 since July 15th, and also eligible $4,000 claimers. One is Starlit This Swan Day, owned by Sally and Tom Wadsworth of Sandusky, Michigan, trained and driven by Skip DeMall. Number 2 is Solar, owned by Sally Wadsworth of Sandusky, Michigan, trained by Skip DeMall, the driver Jennifer Main. Number 3 is MVP Luke, owned by Gary Wilmot of Erie, Michigan, trained by Jerry Tosca and the driver Drew Neal. Number 4 is Stormy Wings, owned by Brett Boyd Racing Incorporated of Jonesville, Michigan, trained by Brett Boyd, the driver Kim Pluta. Horses will take one long score and go to the gate.
Okay. You want to finish up there with MVP Luke? I think you got interrupted there, Doug.
Yep, he's had 5 starts on the year. A lot of back class here for MVP Luke, 411,000 lifetime, a mark of 52-4 at Northfield just 2 years ago. So a lot of back class for the 3 MVP Luke.
Contrarily, Stormy Wings does not have very many lifetime appearances despite being a 6-year-old. This gelding is trained by Brett Boyd, and Kim Pluta will be in the bike. The name Stormy Wings. 8 starts on the year, 1 win, no seconds, 1/3, and $4,391 earned. A record of 158-3 this season, which is also the lifetime best for this one that has made 30 lifetime starts over his racing career with 5 wins, 6 seconds, 6/3, and lifetime earnings of $25,252. Actually, so he's the least raced horse, yes, and he's also the youngest one in the field. But you can pair that to the 411,000 plus that the 3-horse MVP Luke. What a big contrast.
And MVP Luke currently our post-time favorite at 4-5.
Doug, I remember he won out here last year, and we kind of marveled that he was a $5,000 yearling or Buckeye Classic
Ohio
sale,
Select.
was it? Yeah, Ohio Select. Made 400 and some thousand. When he trots, I mean, he looks like $1 million out there. I don't know what the layoff was about. That's a long time to be off, but yes, he is loaded with that class.
Right. And I don't know whether he has had the same owner throughout his career. That's an interesting thing to me, too. Some of them that keep their horses, even deservedly so if they've earned them quite a bit of money.
Who did I see got 35th career win the other day?
Southwind Amazon. So I've been thinking a lot about this. He's 2 away.
2 away.
It's 3 weeks to the jug. If he could tie it or beat it in Delaware on Jug Day, that would be like the coolest thing ever for harness racing. In front of that crowd, it would be amazing.
It would be. Well, everybody should tune in during Delaware Week. There's a lot of exciting action there. Besides just the centerpiece of the Little Brown Jug, we have a lot of great racing all week long. Speaking this race, we have Jennifer Main. We don't see a lot of female, lady, or women drivers, although our sport is proliferated with a lot of women doing a lot of different jobs.
They do, yes. A lot of grooms.
Whether it's on the front side or the back side.
A lot of your big trainers are lady trainers now.
Yes, yes. I think I know why there's not a lot of women that are actually out on the track doing that. It's a lot of strength. These horses are a lot stronger than you can believe. And when you're sitting in a hole and, I know we women can lift weights and almost, I guess they say, do anything a man can do, but there's a lot of athletic strength that you need to handle a harness horse. It's not that easy. So some of them are a lot easier, though. You don't have, but some of these horses, as they say, can pull a ton. And you'll see that sometimes. Although the positioning of drivers now, you see a lot of them lay back, and you may think that they're trying to hold a horse when really now most of them do it for aerodynamics.
Yes.
You've seen a lot of different styles over the years.
Oh, yes, most definitely.
How that evolves.
The driving style has really changed. It's so much more aggressive now, than
loose lines.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Wings on the outside. They're at the post. Starting gate is rolling now. Here they come. They're off and trotting. The first horse away is Solar. Up on the outside, second is Stormy Wings. At the rail, third is Starlit this one day. And the last horse is MVP Loop. As they make the turn now to head down the backside to race over toward that quarter-mile mark, Jennifer Main has Solar on top by 2 lengths. Dropping in there second is Stormy Wings, driven by Kim Pluta. Racing third is Starlit this one day, driven by Skip Demal. And the last horse is MVP Luke, driven by Drew Neal. Going toward that quarter-mile mark, that's Solar on top by 3 lengths. Trotting second is Stormy Wings, followed by Starlit this one day and MVP Luke. First quarter trotted in 29 1/5 seconds. As they race around that upper turn to come down past the stands for the first time, that's Solar by 4 lengths. Stormy Wings continues to trot in there second with Starlit this one day third, and the last horse MVP Luke. No change as they race down to the half. That's Jennifer Main and Solar bringing the horses down to the half. Closing in a wee bit second now with Stormy Wings. Then comes Starlit this one day and MVP Luke. Past the half-mile mark, that's still Solar with the lead. The first half trotted in a minute flat. As they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch is Solar. The closest horse second along the rail. There is Stormy Wings. Racing third is Starlit this one day. And the last horse is MVP Luke. Going toward that 3/4 mile mark. That's Solar now only by a length and a half over Stormy Wings. And now flying up third on the outside comes MVP Luke. And the last horse is Starlit this one day. 3/4 in 1:30 3/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. Kim Pluta is now out and on the move with Stormy Wings, but Solar answers the call and trots right on. That's Solar along the rail with the lead. Stormy Wings on the outside second. MVP Luke is looking for racing room as they race toward home. That's Solar and Stormy Wings. Solar at the rail, Stormy Wings on the outside, and MVP Luke coming down at the rail, but it's going to be Solar, and here they all come. Up for place is Stormy Wings, and the third horse was MVP Luke. A mile in 2 minutes and 3/5.
Well, the lady, Jennifer Main, showed the boys how to do it. Pretty much cut the mile, may have ended up, at the top of the stretch. The chart might show second, a head off. Might have got collared by the 4, Stormy Wings, but Solar, nice drive, but Jennifer Main came back at 2 minutes and 3/5.
If I were driving, that's where I would want to be, because if I could get the horse off the gate and to the front, there's a lot less to think about. And if you can sustain, all the better. But it's your race to win or lose.
29-1, a minute, 1:30 and 3/5, home 2 minutes 3/5.
Good
Third
finish,
of
too.
the year for Solar. Yeah, good finish.
It
was a good race.
I actually thought MVP Luke, of course, he was scratch sick last time out.
I actually figured he would be the winner.
Yeah,
That was
bouncing
my
back
thing, yes.
sometimes after you
He's
haven't
a good-looking
felt so
horse.
good.
Got a nice way of going.
Yeah, that's a lot of trips behind the starting car. 169 for this one, and actually his lifetime mark is no slouch either on the trot, 152 and 4.
Who did we have with 300 career starts? Turig Seelster, the horse that we see a lot. He had made his 300th career start, I believe, at Napoleon the other night.
That's a war horse.
Yes. He is game every start.
So we did have a daily double, late daily double. So the people that backed Solar, they've got one half of it in, and Solar, what was the odds on Solar there?
3 to 5.
3 to 5.
He was the post-time favorite.
I think that must have happened late. The odds dropped pretty big because, I mean, I thought the 3 and the 4 were the heavy favorites right at when they went to the gate.
And now moving down the track into the winner's circle. The winner's gone.
Coming in from Sandusky, Michigan, comes number 2, Solar, owned by Sally Wadsworth, trained by Skip DeMall, and driven to victory this afternoon by Jennifer Main. The banker for this race is courtesy of F&M Bank. That's really here for Jennifer Main, Greg Bateson, and Solar, and the F&M Bank, the donors of the blanket. Here are the official placings for race 8 from the top. Number 1, Starlit This One Day was 4th. Number 2, Solar was a winner. Number 3, MVP Luke was 3rd. And number 4, Stormy Wings was 2nd. Time of the first quarter was 29 1/5. The half was in a minute flat. The 3 quarters in 1:30 3/5, with a mile in 2 minutes and 3/5. From the top it should read 4:13, 2 on the bottom, a mile in 2 minutes and 3/5.
And the upcoming race 9, number 2, 2 Birds, 1 Stone. Make the driver Greg Mason. Greg Mason will drive number 2, 2 Birds,
Well,
1 Stone.
1 to go here at the Fulton County Fair in Wauseon. It's the signature series, the Fulton County Horsemen's Memorial Pace for 4,600, a field of 6. We'll be back right after these messages.
The future is bright in Ohio. Ohio Sire Stakes, Buckeye Stallion Series, 66 county and independent fairs. Whether it's the Ohio Sire Stakes, the Buckeye Stallion Series, or the county fairs, Ohio has a place for your racehorse. This year, Ohio breds are racing for nearly $23 million in stakes purses. Be part of the winning. Breed, buy, race, win in Ohio.
At Ohio State's Galbraith Equine Center, our veterinary champions are here for your champions 24/7, 365 days a year. Our expert team of boarded surgeons, sports medicine and rehabilitation specialists, together with veterinary cardiologists, internal medicine, and ophthalmologists, make our hospital your best resource for all sport horse performance issues. The Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center's Galbraith Equine Hospital. Call us today at 614-292-6661. When you need supplies for your horse, one name stands out: Big D's. Since 1976, Big D's Tack and Vet Supply has been the equine experts you can trust. Whatever your horse needs is available at Big D's Tack and Vet Supply. Visit the retail outlet in Streetsboro, Ohio, or order online at bigdweb.com for fast shipping. Most orders ship that day. Or call 1-800-321-2142. Big D's Tack and Vet Supply.
Our getaway feature, the 9th race, is part of the signature series, that for 4-year-olds and up on the pace, a purse of $4,600. I'm going to jump right in and take a look at this field. The one, Catch Me Conrad, trained by Greg Cook and driven by Drew Neal, has a couple of distinctions here. He's the season's highest money earner with $54,354, and I believe he's also had the most starts this season with 32 appearances. His last appearance was in another signature series at Van Wert, and he came home a winner. Final quarter in 29 flat, mile in 1:55.4. He was the betting favorite at 80 cents on the dollar. Drew Neal was there for that appearance as well for trainer Greg Cook. Greg Cook also is pretty happy. He owns this one too, I'm sure. The start before that, so it's 2. He's actually gunning for 3 in a row here because he also won two-back at Hicksville in a free-for-all where he won easily 8 3/4 lengths, final quarter 27-2, mile in 1:57-1. A winner of 3 of his last 4, second only 3-back at Napoleon, and a win that's 4-back was at the Parimutuel track. That was at Northfield in a non-winners of 5,000 last 4 starts.
It'll be a good matchup, Catch Me Conrad and Surfing in the Canyon. Most likely they will match up.
I'm a little surprised the favoritism out there. I thought Surfing the Canyon would be the early favorite, but right now it'll Catch Me Conrad at 2-5. But, I mean, you don't know what that means at the county fair, but.
Surfing in the Canyon, these two both they're head-to-head today, but when they get to Delaware, it's whoever gets that inside post there. They're both going to be in the final, which goes Signature Series final, which goes Jug Day. So the two birds, one stone. We're going to give you a driver on that. Chris Page is listed.
Greg Bateson.
Greg Bateson
I heard announced.
will drive the 2. Carl Putman Jr. trains 4-year-old gray brown gelding by Black Daniels. 2 wins, 24 career though. $285,000 in the bank lifetime for 2 birds, 1 stone, a mark of 154-1 as a 4-year-old. Last time out was second. I'm guessing this is at Midland, Michigan on August 9th. Finished second, pacing a mile in 3-3. The 2 birds, 1 stone.
Back on August 13th, the 3 O'Grady's First Man for trainer Wayne Smith flashed a lot of early speed with Scott Sisko in the bike, but faded to finish 6th, pacing in a free-for-all of 1:59-1 was his individual time. This is a 10-year-old by Manhart out of Lady O'Grady by Admiral's Galley. The start before that was August 7th in a condition race at Northfield, just non-winners of 1,500 last 4. Finished 4th in that, pacing in 1:56. David Lake was in the bike for that one. Also raced up in Michigan at Fowlerville, 3-back, and finished second in that appearance. Final quarter in 28-4, 1:59-4. A winner of $292,391 life, but only $7,200 this year.
Series going for a purse of $4,600. Number 1 is Catch Me Conrad. He's a bay gelding, 8 years old by Tell It Like It Is out of Envy by Mach 3. Owned and trained by Greg Cook of Brooklyn, Michigan. Driven this afternoon by Drew Neal. Lifetime earnings of over $348,000 and a lifetime mark of 150 4/5, and just coming off a track record performance at the Van Wert County Fair Tuesday night. Number 2 is 2 birds, 1 stone. He's a brown gelding, 4 years old by Black Daniels out of Sheeby Jeebies by He's All That. Owned and trained by Carl Putnam Jr. of Byron, Michigan. Driven this afternoon by Greg Bateson. Lifetime earnings over $285,000. A lifetime mark 154 1/5. Number 3 is O'Grady's First Man. He's a bay gelding, 10 years old by Manhart out of Lady O'Grady by Admiral's Galley. Owned by Eugene Schraubin of Portland, Michigan. Trained by Wayne Smith. Driven this afternoon by David Lake. Lifetime earnings over $292,000. A lifetime mark 151 3/5. Number 4 is Surfing the Canyon. He's a bay gelding, 5 years old by Canyon Wind out of Cruising and Surfing by Yankee Cruiser. Owned and trained by Steve Bateson of Rudolph. Driven this afternoon by Mark St. Louis Jr. Lifetime earnings over $141,000. A lifetime mark 150 3/5, and coming off 9 straight wins. At number 5 is Trente Deo. He's a bay ridgeling, 8 years old by Captain Treacherous out of Electric Fool by I Am a Fool. Owned by Zach Jackson of Minner on the Lake, Ohio. Trained by Steve Ashby. Driven this afternoon by Pierce Henry. Lifetime earnings over $379,000. A lifetime mark 150 2/5. At number 6 is Seafair. He's a bay gelding, 8 years old by Captain Treacherous out of Bays by Rock and Roll Hanover. Owned by Patrick Harley of Paramus, New Jersey. Trained by Steve Ashby. Driven this afternoon by Kim Pluta. Lifetime earnings over $330,000. A lifetime mark 150 4/5. That line to be announced on number 6, Seafarer. He raced on August 28th at Findlay. Had post position 6. Was 5th at the quarter, 10 1/4 lengths behind. Was 6th at the half, 5 1/4 lengths behind. Was 6th, too wide at the 3/4, 7 1/4 lengths behind. Was 5th at the top of the stretch, 13 3/4 lengths behind. And finished 5th, 10 3/4 lengths behind. His actual time was 2 minutes and 1/5. Last quarter in 29 and 4/5. There was no betting. The driver was Charles Boland. The driver, Steve Ashby. I'll now give you your possible daily double.
Trish the Force surfing in the canyon. Mark St. Louis Jr. drives for trainer-owner Steve Bateson. 10 wins this year. This would be his 10th in a row. He has 9 in a row in 12 outings this season. 20,000 this year, 141,000 lifetime. Earlier in the year, back on July 17th, was the winner in 150 and 3/5. That win was by a neck at Scioto Downs. He's won at Hicksville, Napoleon, Attica, Bowling Green, and Tiffin, all Signature Series races. He will be in the championship, I'm sure, at Delaware. The Force surfing in the canyon.
And that takes us to the 5. Pierce Henry will handle Trente. I say Trente Deo, but I think they say Trent Dio. Trainer Steve Ashby sends out this Bay Ridgeling by Captain Treacherous out of Electric Fool by I Am a Fool. This one, there's actually 3 in this field that have earned over $300,000 in lifetime earnings. This one's close to nearly $400,000. 172 starts, lifetime, 38 lifetime wins, 18 seconds and 25 lifetime thirds, $379,532 with a mark at Pocono as a 5-year-old of 150 and 2/5. Now, last time out finished 4th at Van Wert, but was a winner, easy winner at Hicksville in 159 and 4. We had a scratch line before that, and he had broken equipment before that, DNF. Then he was ineligible, so it's been pretty spotty for him. We have to go back to Elmira on July 31st, where he had another victory in 2:02 and 1.
6 Seafair. I didn't pick up the driver in the post parade, Ronnie.
I didn't.
Let's see if I look across the way.
And I didn't hear him say.
Kim Pluta, I believe.
Okay.
It looks like Kim Pluta driving a 6 Seafair. The 8-year-old Bay Goat, son of Captain Treacherous. 330,000 lifetime, one of the richest in the field. Took his mark as a 3-year-old at Pocono of 150 and 4/5. Last time out finished 5th at the Hancock County Fair in Findlay just a few days ago, pacing his mile in 2 minutes. That's the 6 Seafair and the driver, Kim Pluta. The field has completed their score. The Wepkenburg starting gate moving into position. Awaiting the 6 Pacers, Catch Me Conrad, 2 birds, 1 stone. O'Grady's First Man, Surfing in the Canyon, Trent Deo, and Seafair.
On a commercial break, I have to say I was impressed when you told me that you called Rambling Willie's first race. What a hero. And I always give summer reading things. There's a book about Rambling Willie. I think I have time to say it was the horse that God loved. You can still pick up that book by Don Evans on Amazon. One of Ohio's finest performers. Yes. And what a story you have to say you called him first.
Yes, I did.
Here they come. They're off in the Fulton County Horseman Memorial pace. The first horse away in the middle of the track is O'Grady's First Man. Down at the rail second, that's Catch Me Conrad. Up on the outside third is Surfing the Canyon. At the rail fourth is 2 birds, 1 stone. Moving up fifth, that's Trente Deo. And the last horse is Seafair. As they head down the backside to race over that quarter-mile mark, Drew Neal has Catch Me Conrad on top by 2.5 lengths. Pacing in there second is O'Grady's First Man, driven by David Lake. Racing third is 2 birds, 1 stone, driven by Greg Mason. Racing fourth, that's Surfing the Canyon, driven by Mark St. Louis. Fifth, it is Trente Deo, driven by Pierce Henry. The last horse, Seafair, driven by Kim Pluta. First quarter paced in 27 seconds as they race around that upper turn to come down past the stand for the first time. That's still Catch Me Conrad by about 3 lengths. Racing in there second is O'Grady's First Man. Racing at the rail third, that is 2 birds, 1 stone. Now up on the outside fourth, now third and going after the leaders is Surfing the Canyon. Also on the move is Trente Deo, and the last horse is Seafair. First half paced in 56 seconds as they round the turn now to head down the backside to race over that 3/4 mile mark. The one to catch, that is Catch Me Conrad. That's Surfing the Canyon, edging up on the outside second, and 3 wide is Trente Deo. Racing in there fourth, that's O'Grady's First Man. Then comes 2 birds, 1 stone, and Seafair. Going to the 3/4 mile mark, that's Catch Me Conrad with the lead. Surfing the Canyon is racing second with Trente Deo third. Past that 3/4. That's still Catch Me Conrad with the lead. 3/4 in 125 and 2/5 as they race around that upper turn to head for pay dirt. That's Catch Me Conrad with the lead. Park St. Louis is getting real busy with Surfing the Canyon now as they race toward home. That's Catch Me Conrad, Surfing the Canyon, and Trente Deo. Catch Me Conrad and Surfing the Canyon. It's going to be Catch Me Conrad, and here the outcome. Surfing the Canyon up for place, up for show is Trente Deo, and the 4th horse is Two Birds, One Stone. A mile in 154 and 3/5.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, poor Surfing the Canyon was up against it there right from the get-go. David Lake leaving with that 3 had him out wide. He had to take back.
He had
and then
to take back. Got
he was
away
hard
fourth
used.
Yes,
yeah,
hard
for sure.
used.
Hard used.
And then, when Catch Me Conrad's that sharp, it's going to be.
Yeah, he's sharp. I didn't know if he would hang on through those kind of fractions.
Yeah.
27, 56,
He
25
actually-
and 2. He actually opened up.
He did.
Now that
and
some of those horses who finished 4th and 5th, they were pretty much walking across the wire. They were tired.
well, so that makes it 3 straight for Catch Me
straight
Conrad
for
as he
Catch Me
breaks the
Conrad.
string for Surfing the Canyon, which is always kind of sad, even though
When
one
you have,
one
when you
string
have two good
starts,
horses
yes.
like this, that inside post means so much. And Drew Neal kept him alive. He knew he wanted to control the race.
A
he
wicked
wanted
mile
that front
there.
end, and he was going to get it. Yeah.
But the record here for all age pace was 153, and I'm not familiar back 23 years ago. Who was JC?
Oh, he was a monster.
Yes.
I cannot remember who trained him. Mark Webster drove him some. See you later.
too. And I'm going to tell my sister you asked after her. She'll love that. Yeah.
So the crowd is heading to the exits. Boy, it was a nice crowd here today. It always is on Labor Day, a fun place to come. The Fulton County Fair in Wauseon.
Jim Jackson. I should have known that.
Jim Jackson from Portland, Indiana.
Catch Me Conrad, owned and trained by Greg Cook and driven to victory this afternoon by Drew Neal. This is the Fulton County Horseman Memorial Pace. That is the 63rd lifetime win for Catch Me Conrad. Let's have a big hand here for Maggie Foster, Drew Neal, Catch Me Conrad, along with other people in the winner's circle, and to the Fulton County Horseman Memorial Blanket presented by the Fair Board here. Let's give them all a big hand. A great mile here, 154 and 3/5.
Well, we ended on a very exciting first race. We had a very exciting first race. We're ending on a very exciting final race.
Number 2, Two Birds, One Stone was 4th. Number 3, O'Grady's First Man was 5th. Number 4, Surfing the Canyon was 2nd. Number 5, Trente Deo was 3rd. And number 6, Seafair was 6th. Time of the first quarter was 27 seconds. A half was in 56 seconds. The 3/4 in 125 and 2/5, with a mile in 154 and 3/5. From the top, it should read 145-236, a mile in 154 and 3/5.
Well, that wraps it up. A great day of racing, Trish and Matt. Couple drivers doubled up. Mark St. Louis Jr., our leading driver in the fair circuit this year in Ohio. He had 2. Drew Neal had 2. I believe Drew might have won the opener and then closed it out with a win here with Catch Me Conrad. A great mile, great race in 54 and 3. Action coming up. Tomorrow I'll be calling the races at Richwood Independent Fair. We have 7 tomorrow. We start at 11. The Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association will cover that race meet at Richwood. Monday we're back there at 1 on Labor Day with 9 races. Tomorrow at Marietta, the Washington County Fair. They race at 1 and back Monday at 1. So that's just some of the action coming up. And then we get into Canfield races. They're racing now at 11. They might be finished for the day, but they're back there also on Labor Day at 11. Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association will be at all three of those places, Canfield, Richwood, and Marietta on Labor Day. Also racing is Van Wert, but it's all over nights. They don't have enough coverage to go around, so they will be not covering the races at Van Wert. That takes us into Kenton next Wednesday and Thursday. It's been a great day.
It has been a great day. So for Doug Ballinger, our cameraman Matt Clark, and for myself, Trish Soulsby, good racing, good luck, and good afternoon. See you next time.
This has been Ohio County Fair Racing. Ohio County Fair Racing has been presented by Midland Acres, thestable.ca, Dublin Valley Farms, Big D Tack and Vet Supply, and the Ohio State Veterinary Medical Center. Ohio County Fair Racing is a presentation of the Ohio Harness Horsemen's Association.